Welcome to the Kaizoran experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So, like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizoran, and join the Kaizoran Empire. I universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of frequency like a ringtone on your phone. Melanin expression tied up in the universe, feeling like God. Is it really us? Is it serious? Is it really wrong to be diverse? I'm a divergent, immerse myself like an ocean beneath this waves. Be a divergent, born to be different. Indigo child, wild like canary. Born to be a bluebird in the sky, flying high like a bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Everybody scream bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. Everybody, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bone black, sweet like a berry. Flying high like a canary. Scary with my hoodie on. Hating on my vibe on the street that you'll be feeling my frequency in the song. But I know that I ain't never ever gonna be ever the same. But I know. Shalom, shalom, mother loving one. What's good, Dusty's out there. Make sure you like the show as you come in over there, right? And share it, with your Dusty family and all of that good stuff. Today, we're just going to be talking about, Kenya versus Ghana, right? So one country was oversold. That's Ghana. A lot of scamming going on through, certain government areas. It's even COVID taxes and all those kinds of stuff. So Austin Holman does an interview with someone explaining the situation over there between Ghana and Kenya. Which country is the superior country to go to, and which one is more or less just a pan-scamism country, right? So that's the discussion today. If you're Black American, if you're diasporan, you want to go and connect with people back home, whatever it is that you think, which country is better for you, which one is scamming you, and which one actually has the intentions correctly, though, right? Which country was oversold? Which country oversold, right? Which country sold people to in the past? So clearly the oversold one, yeah, they're just terrible puns there, right? It's not punny at all. It's not funny. But anyways, yeah, that's the conversation today, right? Austin Holman analysis of his video that he did recently. Which side are you taking onwards, right? Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Flexer said his favorite country was Kenya, then Senegal. Interesting. So I didn't actually know he's been to Senegal. I would say in terms of food, Senegalese food is amazing. Senegalese women, amazing, etc., etc. So yeah, I do love Senegalese food, man. Benachin, whatever you guys call those things, your versions of jollof sort of rice products, it is insane. The umami, the flavor is unquestionable, right? Much better than that tomato rice the Nigerians and Ghanaians fight over, right? Never understood that, right? Niggas be fighting over tomato rice. What's good, Mr. Musanda? I see that you're still. I wanted you. Little Musanda. That sounds definitely sus. That I wanted you. But yeah, come through, Mr. Musanda,
And then we're gonna go
if you
back to
want.
bank.
Come up if you want, Musanda. Long time, long time.
Bangkok.
So,
Number one, what do you think about what I said about Ghana? Because I thought Ghana was pretty American. It wasn't as bad as the West, but it reminded me a lot. I mean, from the way how the dudes sagged, the competition, like the flex, how dudes.
yeah, so West Africa is different from East Africa, right? Generally, West African men do have a flexing culture, right? Why? Because they have money, they want to spend their money on women, and they're willing to spend their money on women. East Africa, the competition, look, no, no cap here. I'm not looking down on the brother, but clearly the competition in East Africa is not that high, right? That's probably why he likes East Africa. Even South Africa, West Africa, it is a high competition. Those are your ancestors, right? Those are where the Black Americans came from. So culturally, it's in their genetics to want to flex and all that stuff and chop money, right? So that whole aspect over there, right? It's to be expected. Austin Holman, right? It's 100% to be expected. Yeah, long time, Samusanda. How are you doing, man? You still working? Did you quit your job? Are you out there dealing with transformers and shit?
Nah, man. I'm still on the workforce, and I'm still alive. I don't have work tomorrow, so that's why I'm here now.
Okay. You sound more South African right now. What's going on? You sound like Josie Gold a little bit. Like your accent has changed a bit.
Nah, nothing, man. What's been happening in this YouTube thing? What's happening?
Man, not much, not much. You missed all the crazy Nigerian warfare.
Nah, I don't
Just
care.
that's the usual.
I don't care about Nigeria. What the fuck? Nigerians run to SA, man. Come on. These people run to SA. Why would I care about what they want there when they run
Yeah,
here? You know what I mean? You know, one thing I
yeah.
actually realized about, like a lot of these Nigerians, they keep saying the same thing. Ask your parents, ask your parents. I'm like, bro, like, do you know what my parents, or at least all black parents, say about apartheid? Is like all these African
Mhm.
nations were all scared, bro. And it makes sense, right? They were all scared of the Afrikaners. Like Zambia actually tried housing a lot of these ANC guys. They bombed their place. They had fighter jets. I have yet to see one fighter jet from Africa. These African nations have no military weapon to defend themselves against the US, Russia, or China. You know what I mean? So if you're housing, let's say, Osama bin Laden in Kenya, you would be scared to get bombed by the US. True or false? I'm asking a question, Dr. K. Yo, am I offline, man? No, the guy beat me, man. Can you
No,
hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know if he disconnected. What's up?
Oh, nah, I didn't disconnect. We'll be offline. He's the host. If he disconnected, maybe his mic is wrong or something. Yeah, man, I just want to say, man, all you Africans are weak, man. All these African countries are weak. That's the fact, man. And they're all just waiting to get some level of a foundation, money, or something to get them out of poverty. They want quick outside of wealth. That's what I think about Africa. I know that's not the topic, but that's what I understand, man. All these African nations, they will be quick to make deals with a company to fuck up their nation just to get it done because they want instant gratification, you know.
Yeah, but Musanda, like, let me ask you a question, right? Um,
Yeah.
like, what's work actually going on right now? Like, what kind of projects are you doing there?
I'm working. I'm installing do you know what's a transformer? Ah, man, it's simple things, man. Installing a transformer next to a farm.
Oh,
Stupid
so
ones.
you
So you do work in the power industry. So you are an engineer, Musanda.
Yeah, man. Ask. What's that chick's name? That girl. What's her name? The one. Juju. Ask Juju.
Mhm.
Yeah, she has my.
Aimlessly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you have an Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it called? Musanda's Daydream or some shit.
Nah, man. I won't tell you, man. You're a troll, man. I don't trust your one guy.
Yeah.
You're a troll. That's nigga. I call you. You haven't show me your face, so I don't trust you,
Musantin.
man. I trust that she's not a troll.
Musanda. Yeah, what's good? What's good?
Yeah.
Flex up, man.
What's up, Kaizo?
Yeah, what you been up to?
Just been working, man. Just trying to
Working.
see what you're
Black
gonna.
people.
Where you from, man?
Black
Where you
people don't
from?
work.
Where am I from?
Where?
What do you mean? Like
You know what I mean, nigga. What the fuck you mean when you what you mean, nigga?
Senegal and Guinea.
Kidding, man. Where you from, man? No, you sound American. So I want to know where you originate from. You don't sound
Senegal
pure,
and
man.
Senegal and Guinea, and grew up in America.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You sound like a fake American. You don't sound like. I can hear the fake Ados there. It's not pure, So I could tell. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
he
You
has a
don't
lot of
sound like it, man. Yeah. Senegalese. Oh shit, man. So you probably dark skin as fuck, bro. Probably look worse than darker than Michael Black. No, I'm just saying. I'm just,
I'm dark
I'm
skinned,
just
but
saying that you
I'm
probably he's probably light skinned to you, right? Like he's a light skinned nigga,
Michael
Michael Black.
Blackson. No, 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 no. I'm lighter skinned than Michael Blackson. Michael Blackson is super dark. He's
Why did you bleach your
Oh my
skin, my
god.
bro? You're probably Muslim. Are you Muslim? Probably bleach your skin or something. There's no Senegalese that's light skinned,
bleach
man.
your
Don't
skin.
don't don't cap on us here, bro. There's no light. Kaiser, you know you're drunk when you see a
Musanda's a
light skinned
comedian,
nigga.
man.
You know you're drunk, man. When you see a light skinned nigga coming out of Senegal, you're like, yeah, man, I need to fix my eyes, bro.
They exist, man.
Where?
Musanda, you
Where are
gotta
they
go.
live?
You gotta visit.
In that place, that's so hot. You're telling me a light skinned nigga can actually come out still light. I can get born light, but nah, man. I disagree, man. You probably dark skin or something. But like out of that, man, let's even go. What is this, man? Is it an interview with a trick or something? Trick ass American. Look at this FBA tricks and fun. Tricky.
He's gonna be a Kenyan
Lord.
soon.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? I get it now. The reason why they hate West Africa is because West African men are better trickers than them. That's what I've noticed, right? Because if you come to East Africa, there's no competition. Someone says you bogging, bro. Who, me? I'm bogging or who? Uh, that was an interesting stream coming from an
Yo,
African perspective you had yesterday. I
I
watched
think,
it this morning. Okay, shout out to Andre. Yeah.
yo, Kaizo. How
Mhm.
common is it in in the city areas in Kenya for a man to have more than one wife?
How common is it? As in
Yeah,
the let's say, okay, the only ones who do it in the city is just Somalis. Everyone else doesn't practice polygamy in the city. Only Somalis practice it, right? That's
gotcha.
the only tribe
Okay.
that actively practice it in the city. Most of the other tribes will do it in the village because it's convenient, right? They've got land, they've got house, they've got food, etc. So like they grow the food, they even keep animals. So taking care of a family in the village or town is easy. So yeah, a lot of men do it in the village city, but in terms of sorry, not city, in the village, but in the city, no, it's only Somalis. Like even the other Kushite tribes don't do it because you think about it. And here's the thing: the Somalis are only able to do it because they practice like shared housing living, right? They're like Nigerians. So basically, Kenya Kenyans are interesting people, right? You know the upper class British culture, they just adopted it after the colonialism. So, you know, these large draped curtains that are like really heavy and decorated. Kenyans, all Kenyans, right? Like middle class Kenyans have those expensive curtains that cost like $200, for example, which is crazy. Um, so they just adopted upper class British culture
So
after
they like
colonialism. So
fake Victorian shit, basically.
yeah, exactly, and it's expensive because there's a market for it here. And what I notice is, the average Kenyan guy likes privacy too much. For example, someone rather get. There's nothing wrong with the bed sitter. Bed sitter is just like it's like a fake studio apartment, right? It's just a single room. It's just a room with all the things there, right? There's a toilet next to it. Uh, there is a obviously like a kitchen area to cook and stuff, and it's just one large room. Kenyans would rather get that rather than get like a nice uptown house in a nice neighborhood and share like within three of their other friends. So like four people. So Nigerians, what they do is get four Nigerians living in a nice uptown house. And they just share the house. Like each one has their own room. All they got to do is just share like living space and bathroom and chicken area. Sorry, chicken area. I guess it is a chicken area. Kenyans wouldn't do that. Somalis do the same, but they even more crazy. They would like literally live in a shithole so that they can save money to basically have multiple wives. Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is flexed up is the other Kenyans don't seem to know how to hack the system. They're just living that Victorian Muzungu sort of culture, if that makes sense.
Can I ask
I
you
know
a
that.
question? What is the
Mhm.
obsession with Africa? I know it's a little bit out topic, but what is the obsession with Africans and language? Like the idea,
And language.
I keep getting it also on Clubhouse. Oh, let's speak Swahili and Africa will not be a shithole. Let's speak Zulu and Africa won't be a shithole.
Yeah. Right.
So it's just funny
Le-
when I say
uh,
it out loud.
yeah.
I don't.
Why?
That's
Why
the
is that?
internet
What's the obsession?
Africans. I don't think the average African is having that conversation.
No, no, no. But why is the problem is not its promotion. It's like why do people
It's
actually think that will solve anything? That's my thing. Like if it will solve something, I will be pro it. My question is, well, my truth is it hasn't because the question is
Musanda,
what have the
you're
Swahilis?
Musanda. You're online. You're online, so you're gonna find somebody that thinks everything is the solution. Anything under the
No, no,
sun
yeah.
no.
that you can
You
find, you
don't
will
get it.
find
You don't get
somebody.
it. You don't get
And
it.
because
I
you're
hear the
looking
No,
up,
same
we
thing.
get it. We get it.
I
you ingest
hear
African
the same
content,
thing.
you're gonna find that.
So my
No, no,
friend and
Sandra,
I,
he
right?
gets it. He gets it.
Wait,
Yeah.
pause,
Go ahead.
pause, pause. So I had this one friend, right? He's Bedi, similar to Lozi. Lozi is also Bedi. And then him and I were sitting down, and some Zulu guy was talking about how something about Pan African, and hey, look at Kenya. Then he talked about how if everyone in South Africa spoke Zulu, for some reason, South Africa would be a superpower, mega, whatever. Like black people would get some level of power. And then I asked them this question. So both Tanzania and Kenya both speak uh, Swahili.
Kiswahili.
Corruption is still existing there. There's no mega power coming out. There's no AI coming out. Lately, none of the so-called Swahili speakers are coming together to build any type of mega business. In fact, you have an Indian who can build a Taj Mahal between a freeway in the so-called land where everyone speaks Swahili. Then you look at a place where they speak Zulu. Indians are really kicking out all the Zulus from their land using just the gun. What I'm saying, and then I made the point of saying, if Swahili was so powerful that it could give a foundation, why don't you have a Swahili bank at least? A bank for Swahili to at least
Wait, what the
help
hell is a
promote that.
Swahili bank? Sandra, what the hell are you talking about?
There's a
A
Swahili
Swahili
bank.
bank? What the hell is that?
No, no, no. I'm just saying if it was it, that's my point. Like if it
Okay.
had some power, you would have Swahili banks, similar to like all these Jewish banks that
Oh,
exist
okay, I get
that
your point.
promote Jewish idea. Yeah, yeah. That's my point. It's like you say this because of commonality. You just want to have commonality and a casual conversation with somebody because of that. You're not doing that because of economic progress. African economic progress has nothing to do with lunch.
So
It's just
basically,
the
what you're
mindset.
saying, so you're saying that they can't
All
function
of Africa
without
can speak
commonality.
Swahili. All of Africa can speak Swahili will still be a shithole.
Okay, so
So
Sandra, let me try. Oh yeah, you go ahead, Flexed up first.
So I'm asking, like, effectively, you're saying that these people have a belief that they can't function without some sort of commonality, and in this case is language.
No, no, no.
It's
What I'm
he's
saying is
saying he's
they
saying
think
that.
that
Go ahead, Musanda. Oh, I can explain it for you if you want. He Okay, so I'll explain it for you. Sunday is saying basically, right? They're obsessed with like this whole, oh, we got to have one language in Africa. Oh, Swahili everyone's got to adopt Swahili as if it's a solution to any problem. And it's not, right? There's no, having Swahili or African language as your main language doesn't improve corruption. It doesn't improve, there's no correlation between countries that speak Kiswahili or any African language and that country being richer, basically, flexed up. It's saying it's not solving any real issues, but they're so obsessed with it as if. So he's saying that Africans are obsessed with things that don't have a real representation in the real world of
Yeah.
money, success, or lack of corruption. They're just like, oh yeah, we need a language, but that's not fixing any actual real issue today. That's what he's saying.
The difference, I guess this is what I'm saying. I get that. The difference
Africa
is,
would actually be solved more by just understanding, just watching your show, funny enough, but just understanding how money works. Africa would actually at least have a path or something, but just having economic shows where African countries explain why they're poor and Europe is what it is. And not out of like colonization, whatnot, but just the economics of the world.
yeah,
Africa would
global
actually have
business
more of a
mindset.
chance. Yeah. Like would actually have a chance. But like I'm just saying, if governments so-called cared or something, they would. But then obviously there's a reason. So the thing about the world is that you have to look into the world of if something is not happening, there's probably a reason why, and it's outside of just white supremacy and whatnot. There's probably even an economic reason why certain things about how economics work is not taught to people because if maybe they understood that they wouldn't vote for that particular party, they'll get smarter and maybe not do dumb shit, you know what I mean? What I'm saying is a lot of our political leaders are where they are, I mean, not because the people look at the policies, but because of some subjective truths that they're getting from their political party. Oh, I'm gonna attack the Hutus if I do this. Oh, we're gonna make sure the Kukuyus don't own this if you vote for me. You know what I mean? Some things are subjective. They don't
Hey,
really, yeah.
Musanda,
Because
I mean,
my
you're
point
right.
is if you taught Senegalese economics, you actually in a way limit the amount of power the government itself will have. Even though subconsciously they want to do good for their country, they know they won't even be in the government in the first place. So you know what I mean. So you're always gonna look up for yourself more than anyone else if you're in government. You know.
Yeah, Musanda. Okay, you are right? But Musanda, that's why we came for Pan Africanists in general, right? They're not that realistic about how the real world works. It's more like a pipe dream, feelings, and all that kind of stuff. They don't come up to you and give you real plans. Okay, hey, look, I have this business plan. This will make us money and also unify us. No, they won't tell you that. They'll be like,
They all want to be the leaders.
They
That's
never talk about money, man. They
yeah.
only talk about. They're more likely to talk about whose face is on the money. Like that's the
like
mentality.
Kifaru, like, if you notice how bothered Kifaru is when you talk about economics, you always gonna come up when you talk about Somalis or you talk, I don't know, something, black
Oh yeah,
drama,
true,
man.
true.
That's what they're gonna come up for. When you start talking about real economic shit, maybe IC3 black, you're gonna see the old, old Jamaican
Yeah,
nigga coming.
but he's obsessed, man. IC3. The issue with IC3 is once you teach him something, and then him instead of like updating his model, he's still asking the same question. So what about money and power? You're just like, bro, we resolved that. Oh my god! Like
The
Musanda,
ice
remember?
people have all the money.
What'd you say?
The ice people.
Oh, wait, has he told you why he has all those doors? Wait, pause. Have he told you why he has all those doors? What's the purpose of those doors?
Wait, I didn't hear you.
Kaiser.
What did you say?
Kaiser, has he told you what the purpose of the doors is?
Of the dolls. No. I don't. Who knows what he does with those weird dolls, man? He never
No,
told
I'm
me.
asking you, bro.
Wait,
You
he has
see, he
dolls?
comes to your panel, man. He's your best friend, man.
Yeah, he has some creepy dolls, like in three colors: a black one, a brown one and a white one, and their mouth is open. They just look
Hey man,
creepy. So
somebody needs to give him his own TV show. Like
oh yeah.
he needs a part in a TV show for
Shout out to
sure.
IC3 Black, man. I don't hate that, man. He
Wa
just funny.
wa
You
alaikum
know,
salam.
one thing about
Kaita.
IC3 Black. Let me say this, bro. My entire life, I've been around black people, all these old black people, but I've never been around old black people that can speak English. Like he's my. The more I thought about it, I was like, damn, this is the actual first old black person I've ever talked to that's actually can speak. I don't know if that's the truth for you, but then again, you live in the UK. But I don't know if that's the truth about Kenya too. Do you have old black people that are good in speaking English or in Senegal?
Hmm.
I mean, for a lot of reasons, right? Like I'm just saying in general, like something I just thought about. Like he's an old guy. This is the first time I talked to an old guy that actually, can speak English.
Oh, right. Okay. So, well, Kenya depends if you're in Nairobi or not. Okay. 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 No, 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 no. Let me rephrase this, right? You know how you niggas used to be like, oh, yeah, every African country is dusty. What's his name? Jude, especially. If you just leave Nairobi, everything is dusty. I'm actually not even living in Nairobi. I'm in Masai land. I'm in Kajiado. Uh, and guess what? The place is very developed. Right? This place actually looks good, really nice estate, really well developed. So it's a lie. It's not just Nairobi. Okay, anyways, I went on a tangent, right? If you're basically around the areas like Nairobi, Nakuru, and all those areas, people speak good English. But you go to the villages, it's only the women who speak good English. I don't know why it's the women. The guys are probably doing real shit. Women are probably out there practicing, trying to sound bougie.
Probably watching TV.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
Kenya. So in Kenya, yeah, maybe, but not in South Africa, man. But Rwanda bona ka Sepedi, ukhuluma nawe ngesiZulu, oramba nawe ngaJivenda, man. We speak native language, man, to our grandparents because they can't
Right.
understand.
But it really,
Or
realistically,
Afrikaans,
Kenyans.
they probably yeah Afrikaans, yeah.
So you speak a white man's language.
No, I mean that's we were colonized by Afrikaans, so that that's probably what they'll speak. They can hear. But English, South Africa was really English. South Africa really spoke English prior to 1994. This whole English thing is pretty new, to be honest.
Mhm. But Musanda, can I ask you a question? How come you guys, South Africa, is so dusty on this Palestine-Israel situation? You niggas are taking Palestinian side when Palestine doesn't even exist. Like, what? Do you even have a trade with Palestine? Like, what the hell's wrong with?
No,
I know
I think
it's
no,
history.
I think Palestine was always vogue about the end of apartheid, even though it was something. So I think that's the thing. It's I know it was known as the actual wildest wide strip on the entire apartheidness. Even they even sent some money, I guess, to the ANC. So I think it's also political. It's like the
It's
same thing with Russia. It's not just oh it's bad. It's like well there are previous ties they had. Even Iran, a lot of people don't know a lot of people that send actual money, man. Not these quotations from Nigeria. Iran used to send money to the ANC. Russia sent money to the ANC. Even China too, man. All this, because remember the ANC, the ruling party, they were the militia groups of South Africa. The people that actually like did so-called the civil way or through courts were an organization called United Democratic Front. Yeah, but
Hmm.
yeah. The ANC was banned in the 60s with Mandela's arrest. So they kind of hid in all these other countries sometimes. But because they did like guerrilla warfare, bombing up like wimpies and stuff like but they couldn't penetrate SA. They couldn't go through, man. The borders were, man, these people could defend, bro. My father says it all the time. This whole we fought for whatever, bro. Like, I just want to say, if Loz is listening, man, I think he was right, bro. I think what the truth is, none of the black people that were fighting
Wait, did
it
Dwight?
is today, if it wasn't for America not sanctioning SA. I think because they were sanctioning SA, but America was kind of like ensuring that they like, because they still had weapons and stuff. Because you look at like talking about Israel, because you're talking about Israel. Look at like is it 1970, 1967, the 6 Day War thing, right?
Mhm.
Where America told like both sides to like don't go to war, and then one side actually went to war and then destabilized all the weaponry. Like that's lately those fighter jets that the Israelis were using were made in America, and the same thing in South Africa, right? Like when you have the superiority in weaponry and technological powers, it doesn't matter how many numbers you have on the other side. Israel was basically similar to South Africa. The other side had more numbers, more ground troops, more whatever, but we were the ones with fighter jets, and we were the ones with the upper hand, and the right of first attack type of thing. And I think that's the same thing with South Africa too. That there's one, if you have the support of the US most of the time in a proxy, and depending on the nation you're fighting, like let's say you're fighting a bunch of Africans, you will win. You know, yeah, you will win. It's similar to Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine is such a small country. The fact that it's so hard for Russia to penetrate just shows the supremacy of American technology, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about things happening in the 1960s and the 80s. So you gotta think a lot about that. Like shit.
Okay, no, that's a good answer. Also, shout out to today's sponsors. We got one man who went to hole with the £2, ban tap dancing. This guy thinks it's funny. And also shout out to Andre, our Canadian, Jamaican, Chinese man with the $2. Dusty too, even in Canada. Face
Kai-
mask. No.
Kaiser, what were you gonna say on the show about Austin and Kenya and the compare?
Yeah. Good question. So basically, I did notice something, right? So with the again, I'm gonna say it from an objective standpoint. I'll try not to be anti-passport, bro. Technically, I am one too, right? So it's not that I came to Africa just to to help Africans. I came here to help myself too, in everything, right? So I definitely leverage the market, whatever that means, all the markets. So, anyways, the thing with someone like Austin Holloman, right? So he went to West Africa. In fact, let me just share a bit of the video, and then we'll see.
The women sagged what I said about Ghana, because I thought Ghana was pretty American. It wasn't as bad as the West, but it reminded me a lot. I mean, from the way how the dudes sagged, the competition, like the flex, how dudes like to flex.
Yeah.
The women, I went on a date with a woman and she showed up with this mug, like immediately.
What's a mug? I don't know what the hell that is.
Like a mean face, mean mug.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
That's all too familiar to what I experienced in Texas. Like, she hasn't even met me yet. She agreed to come here. Now, she didn't act entitled. That's why I said it's not as bad. Because in the West, you would see that, and then you would have a...
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Like, I'll say this, right? So, Flexed Up, this guy's is a decently good-looking guy, right? It's at least a 7.5 out of 10 without any, going extra. The issue with people like Austin, these are like your incels. Again, nothing against him, right? But he's your incel who just looks good enough to get away with it, but he's got no swag. There's no way I'm gonna go to a date and a woman comes there with a mean face on me. No matter the country, that doesn't happen to me. I think honestly, there's a kind of energy these incels carry that someone would even disrespect them like that or something.
He said she changed it after to shoot him some bail.
He changed it after, did you say?
That like right after this, because I watched this video. He said right after that he said something about it and she started smiling or some shit, or she stopped doing it.
Oh, I see. So maybe something else was going on. That's the other thing. Let's see.
You'd have to check her. I didn't have to check her, but it was just very reminding. What do you feel about my experience or what I said about it?
I concur with you fully. I haven't been to Ghana in a few years, many years actually. I've been to Nigeria most recently.
That's interesting. Nigeria is a much harder country to get into, and the visa process it actually requires you to have like someone to invite you there or something. It's interesting that he's been there, more than Ghana.
And it's if you look at Africa, Ghana and Senegal and Nigeria and Ivory Coast, they're closer to the States and they got direct flights. So there's direct United flights to Lagos and there's direct flights to Accra, and there's a large Ghanaian, Nigerian population in the States, and Ghana has done a fantastic job of marketing the return of Black Americans. Come over here, we'll give you your visa
Yeah, that was just a big scam, right? That's what I was trying to say there. Like Ghana really messed up their reputation. They keep telling people, yeah, come over here. Then they keep charging them on everything. The whole land thing is just a huge scam. Black Americans or diasporans, if you're listening to this video, do not buy land in Africa. Why even buying land? I don't get. I mean, I get it,
Uh,
right?
Can,
Because you go ahead.
can I chime in? So, do you know that some Black Americans actually lobbied for the year of return? I
There's
can I
someone.
can send you like a page. I can send you
Yeah, go
like
ahead
the guy
if
who
you
did
can.
it. Yeah, let me look.
Yeah, because like I said, guys, look, I get it, right? In America, and shout out to Andre, right? In those countries, you guys don't have land, you don't have property, so you want to feel good that you own something. I get it, right? But first of all, you'll never own anything in Africa as a foreigner because most countries have a law that states foreigners, so non-nationals of any of these African countries can't own land, and this was a way to stop the colonialist from continuing owning land, right? So the land rights, for example, reform in Kenya made it so that foreigners can't own land, meaning all the British owned land will be transferred back to their government after the 99-year lease. So imagine the ex-colonialists, right? The white settlers, they took all the prime land in Kenya, specifically Kuyu land, really. So central Kenya. They took it, they're harvesting tea, coffee, and other cash crops, right? Over there. So what happened is the government realized, nah, this is insane. We can't have people owning 999 years worth of land when we might need that land for something else. So they changed the constitution. So all the land that was being owned by all these foreigners was transferred from 1,000 years, which is, what freehold means most of the time, to just 99 years. So yeah, as a foreigner, you will not own land in most African countries, especially Kenya. If you want to own land, freehold in Kenya, you need to marry a Kenyan woman, put that land in your son's name. That's it. That's the only way you're going to have a freehold land, meaning 999 years of that land is yours, right? Get married to a
I think
Kenyan woman.
in South Africa you can, I think. But
Yeah,
then
South
again,
Africa.
that also fucks you because, like the way the place I live, you have to pay rental for the suburb you live in. So it's also
Mhm.
a money grab scheme, right? Like you buy the land, but you still have to pay rental to live in that area, especially if it's near the city or
Ah,
something.
right.
Yeah, yeah, and more the
Yeah.
people that don't pay rental in land are those living in homelands or villages.
Mhm.
But there's nowhere foreigner would want to live next to a village where they don't speak English and all these other things. You know what I mean? So most foreigners that do go to South Africa buy land are buying it as a predominantly English speaking zone, and by default will have to pay rent. Anglo American, Exaro, all these foreign companies they have to pay rent to live in specific places in South Africa. you know, remember that video I once shared
Right.
with you when I was in the Gauteng? I don't know if you remember that.
Mhm.
Oh, I was on. I think I was on Telegram. Remember that video? I showed you
Yeah.
Zaro. I think I was in Centurion by that time. Yeah, I was in Centurion. Yeah, yeah. That whole place, Axaro is paying close to 15,000 every month for just being there, and
Oh
they have
wow.
to add electricity
So you
and
guys are
water
scamming them
and
for
everything
taxes.
else.
Okay,
No, I
that's
mean,
a good
but
way.
no, not really scam. That's too little, bro. Yeah, but that's too little, man. Because like Zara makes way too much money from the oil and whatever it exploits. Like it's not even like if you saw their profit margin, they're
Yeah.
actually cheating us and the other way around. You know.
Right. And also to answer your question, Principe, we already are in partnership in Kenya, Ethiopia, and Ghana. So we're just not in. We don't have any real
Just
connections in Senegal.
look up the Pentagon, Cape Town, South Africa on YouTube. Just look that up.
Ah, right, right, right. Okay, I'll
Show
check it
no,
out.
show
Check
the
it out.
panel. Show the panel. I want you to show the panel.
Okay, let me check it out. Give me a second as well. Let me share this video that
I want to prove it to you
Kala says.
something. So that place was used as obviously the fortress for Iron Man. You know Iron Man movie, Iron Man 2. Was it Iron Man 2 or 3? No.
I don't know which one.
Yeah. No, I thought you were gonna
Yeah, he
show
said.
my video.
By the way, he said search what Pentagon South Africa or what?
Pentagon, Cape Town, South Africa. Pentagon House. Just say Pentagon House. Cape Town.
Okay.
Do you see
That's
the house?
it.
What's
Yes.
that?
Well,
That's where Iron Man lived. You know Iron Man, the Marvel character?
yeah.
Yeah, there's that one scene where like he like just play it. You see it. I just want you to see the place first. I want to tell you something about that place.
Okay. Let me give me a second. It said play it. I'm seeing a link, not a video.
Oh, I
Let's
wanted you
see.
to play at least a video so we can see it.
Oh, okay. Look, okay. Let me just download it quickly then. I see Pentagon Cape Town House, most iconic something. Okay, let me download that quickly. Then I'll share it in a second.
Yeah, yeah. So
Ghana is
that
starting.
place that you're seeing there, it's I
Mhm.
think it's 105,000 per month to stay there as a villa, right? The 105,000
Wow.
a month, bro. That's somebody's yearly salary. So I'm just saying a place like that, right, will make you pay that because to live in a place like that, you found out that their monthly rental is 80,000 to just live there, and then there's also electricity.
Mhm.
They have to pay like 15,000. Like all these other accessories that come with just having a house at predominantly developed regions of South Africa. It's expensive, really expensive. You know what I mean?
Okay, so this is a house, right? No, it's nice. It almost looks fake. Yeah, it's dope. Definitely dope, but definitely looks fake, man. Doesn't look real. Yeah, it's nice though. It's nice. Wait, this has to be fake, right? This must be like the design sector thing.
Really? Well, how can you fake that, bro? How can you
Yeah, it
really
looks
fake
nice.
that?
Though. It looks very, very well built. Definitely was built by the Indians. I don't see it being built by Africans, man. Yeah, there's no way that was built by Africans, Wasanda. No way.
Return
Hello?
was
I think
that
we got offline.
Ghana was going, that you automatically got
What
the
are you
year of
saying?
return was that.
Oh, 1 second. Let's see.
So one of the misnomers of the year of return was that Ghana was going, that you automatically got citizenship.
Yeah.
Or that you were going to be able to receive a Ghanaian passport when you came for the year of return. Wrong, wrong, wrong. No country can do that, right? Every country has a Department of a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You got a
Whoa. He's. I know what he's trying to say, right? But he is logically incorrect. He said no country could. No, they can do that. It's just they have to actually lobby it. The citizens have to agree with it, right? To change the rules and laws, etc. And you can't just make it based on race. That's going to create some international issues and all of that, right?
That year
That's what
of
makes.
return is just the FBA scamming thing.
Yeah, it was a big
Uh,
scam, man. They got billions
it's
of
the
dollars for
FBA
Santa.
is for getting people like John Zola, the Jujus, and what that other nigga man, the half Jamaican, half Ados guy. Um, what's his name? The guy man,
America
the New
First
Yorker.
Recommend.
No, no, the other one.
They all have Jamaican, man.
No. He, no,
Even
no,
Juju.
the Jamaican. No, the one made into a Jamaican. Oh, what's his name again? Not Measy. You know what I mean?
All right.
Somebody on TV told me he's married to a Jamaican. Like, wait. All this MBE thing just to be made to a Jamaican. But I'm just saying, like, in general, that was a way to scam all these Janzolas and the Nakmizis. You know what I mean? Get these niggas to get a
Yeah.
ticket, buy my products, and then go. They can go to South Africa and then live there for 10 years.
Yeah, but like the thing is though, I want to make it clear that Black Americans know this is nothing against Black Americans. This is just a typical African scam. It just happened that the Black Americans were the scammed in this situation. There was nothing personal. It's just so flexed up. It's a lack of like long term planning by Africa. Just it's a general get rich quick scheme rather than thinking long term. And it's not like it would have cost them more money just to make some preparations because maybe they didn't take them seriously or something. They just thought maybe, oh, maybe they'll come, they won't come. uh, but even if they come, at least we can get some dollars. It's like, bro, if you really wanted to scam them long term, you should have made it easy for them to get citizenship or at least residence permit so that they can operate. They just make it easy for
It was
people and not make it easy for you.
it
I just
was
don't get it.
it was also bad advertising. It was just bad advertising, poor planning. They just didn't know how to position it correctly. And then, when that happens, at that point it's going to look like a scam. So that's what I personally
Right.
think. Like, I think it was a low, I think, because he says he lobbied for it. If you listen to like the other interview, him
Mm,
and some black people from America, like, they lobbied for it. And
wow.
basically, uh I feel like, Ghana was like, let's just go through with it, but it was probably like a low effort affair. And then at that point,
Mm,
it becomes this big, phenomenon. And then now Ghana looks crazy because they didn't plan for it. That's what my personal
ah,
theory is.
okay, interesting. But do you not think then that's part of the issue with African like businesses in general? Like they don't think about the future of that business.
A
They just
thousand percent. That is the number one issue.
mm,
Like you say, you always talk about transtemporally, right?
yep,
That's exactly the issue. We're very
right.
I have a theory. I think Africans are very good at now. For
Yeah,
example, improvisation,
yeah.
right? Notice
Hmm.
that that's a theme. Just think about it. Anything you can name, improvisation,
Yeah,
good at it. But the long term, taking that and then, like you, moving it across, you know, across time is just
yeah.
not the case.
It's kind of interesting. You can see in their culture. So what I notice in Africa is that everyone's phone is always on. It's somehow wrong for your phone to be off. And for me, culturally, I don't like people calling me because unless we've made a meeting, because I don't want to be forced into an agreement. Because first of all, my word is my bond, right? 99% of the time. So I don't want to be forced into an agreement when I haven't actually had time to consider what the person is offering. But Africans just have their phone on all the time. They calling each other, sorting things out in real time. For me, I'm just like, bro, text me the location. For example, even my house, right? Before we came here, I told the guy, I was like, bro, send me the pin location on WhatsApp. I'll figure it out myself. He's like, oh no, you'll get lost. It doesn't really work. When you get here in this case, this bank, then you can call me in there. Then I'll come get you. It's like, it's all real time improvisational stuff. They don't like to.
You know the irony of this situation too.
Mhm.
Time was one of the factors, I believe, um, that kind of messed this up, because what they were trying to do is, this happened in 2019.
Mhm.
And the 400 years from like Jamestown, like, the bringing like some of the first slaves to America was in
Mhm.
1619. So they were trying to make
Yeah.
that 400-year mark. So I think that's a so they actually, were planning, but I feel like they threw it together to make the date, you know, to make that
You
2019.
know, the funny part is that
Right.
most black people in America are not even from Ghana. You know, most black people in America, 1619, came from Angola, the Congo, by way of Brazil, the Caribbean, and America. Last, the people who went to Ghana mostly went to Jamaica, countries like that. Jamaicans have, there's very few African Americans that can trace their ancestry to Ghana or even the Senegambia region. Most African Americans came here. My ancestors came were the first Africans to come here in the 1600s. And I come from a Creole culture. It's Americanized. It's been here 400 years. We're here on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Independent communities, swamp community called Maroon Swamp. Geechee, Gullah, Creole, whatever like that. Atlantic Creole, whatever. Just basically black folks live on the east coast of the United States for 400 years. And the next thing you know, oh, we're all in Ghana. And we always knew that our ancestors came here from the Congo, from the Angola. That's what we always knew about our history. That's where we came from. We come from like the blackest part of Africa. Black America, African America, the majority of us come from the blackest part of Africa, which is the Congo. And so that's where they brought us from. But Ghana capitalized on that because a lot of black people from America go to Ghana and everything like that, and and so they say the year of
English.
return. Yeah, well, guys, Kofi that lives in Ghana says that's not really true. He says Tree is the most spoken, and Akan and Ashanti. He said those are like the elite. If you don't speak those languages, what's happening right now in Africa, right? As more and more Africans are starting to smell themselves a little bit, right? They're starting to basically consolidate around tribalism. And that's what's dangerous about that is that if one tribe or group is in power, ethnic group is in power, right? And they can make it so that speaking their language and eating their food is the in crowd and everything. Then the black people in America are in a really dangerous situation if they go to these countries because you're going to be marginalized. You're going to be on the outside. You're going to be on the outside, and I'm saying to myself, the GDP of Ghana is less than the GDP of the city I live in, the whole country. The GDP is literally lower than the city I live in. So why the hell? Well, let me tell you. And I took this guy John, and he called into our show the other night. He wouldn't debate me. He got on there. We let him up there. But Monty and I had a big fight about that. He thought I was bullying the guy. I said, no, the guy didn't want to debate. So he was, oh, African Americans need to change. We're not changing the goddamn thing. We don't need to change language, culture, and everything to go into what mediocrity, a third world situation. Are you insane? See, here's the thing. Like I'm gonna get to the point where the brother was saying about Africa thinking about here and now, right? The Chinese have had a 100-year plan. At certain intervals, the Chinese diaspora around the world can see the progress. And so, oh yeah, we meet that benchmark. So let me get prepared to go back to China. Koreans around the world can look at the benchmarks that the South Korean government, a military government, set, and they say, okay, I'm gonna get prepared for that because we're gonna be reaching this level in a couple of years. My kids are gonna be able to partake in this. Okay, same thing with the Japanese. Every other group of people, the Arabs, they can see benchmark. You see, Egypt right now is becoming a super modern state. Even countries like Morocco, super modern state where they can say, okay, we mentioned it. Africa, there's no 100-year plan. There's not even a 100-hour plan, you know? And they always want African Americans to come to Africa and figure these things out. I'm sorry. We want to come to Africa and build, but we're two different cultures. We're two different people. We're two different cultures. I realize that now. The cultures of African Americans, right? We expect when we go there that there's a plan laid out for us that we're going to develop for the next 100 years. Now, what you see in Africa right now, unfortunately, right, particularly in Ghana, is not the best of Black America. There's nobody. I sat back in years and I've been quiet about this, right? I have yet to see anybody say, "Let's build manufacturing." Let's build industrial parks. Let's build all this stuff like this. Everybody wants to build a fucking beachfront property. Everybody wants to build a house. Where's the jobs at? Where's the opportunity? You see the difference between the Asians coming to Asia and us. They can fit. They can go to any Chinatown around the world, any Koreatown around the world, and they're connected with on a high level of business, trade, and industry. You got Korea right now building a $50 billion city. China's building a new $1 trillion city. These futuristic cities that are being built, which they're going to be competing with for the brain around the world. Look at Echo Atlantic, right? It's sitting there in limbo. Why? Because the black race don't have the brain power to make that a thriving civilization. You know, or nobody's laid out a plan. Say we're gonna make Echo Atlantic the Dubai of West Africa. You know what? We could bring the best minds from Brazil, North America, the UK, and everything. These fools actually thought they were gonna build the Echo Atlantic and white people would come there and live. White people got many options. They're living around a bunch of black folks. I hate to tell you Africans this. I grew up with white people. You're the last thing. If you see white people in Africa, they're weirdos. They're weirdos and idiots and flunkies and basic brads and all this kind of stuff like this. You're not gonna get the best of white people in Africa. And right now I'm saying like that, you're not even getting the best of Black America in Africa. You're not getting the educated black people in America. And I tell people all the time, I'm around black people, successful black people every day. Engineers, scientists, everything, lawyers, everything like that, right? And the last thing on their mind is Africa. Why? Because not because Africa's bad, that's the homeland, but there's no plan. There's no plan. What is a plan to bring people? If you're making $1 million in your law firm, why would that person leave that $1 million a year and go live in the country where they're not making any money? You know, So that's the
Yeah,
problem.
but Kala,
That's the way
one
I
of the
see it.
issues one of the issues I always say here, right? Like, okay, so let me try to remove the oh yeah, you're also Pan African, but anyways, let me let me try to remove the booty
I'm
clap.
a Pan African, but Pan African with sense.
Right,
I'm a
right,
realistic
exactly.
one.
Okay, so one of the issues here is, okay, so forgetting white supremacy and the IMF and all whatever, all the stuff that people complain about. If you really look at a situation this way, right, is that Africa doesn't seem to want to solve its low hanging fruit problems for some reason. They don't think, maybe they don't see the association between making it easy to do business and the country doing well economically. It's like, for example, if buying land, for
Right.
example, why is it so difficult in some countries like Ghana to buy land? And why can't the government help you buy land, protect your land, like have an initiative where the government does the research? Since they have the power of the state, they can protect you in the whole process, even protect your investment, so that investment moves forward. But they don't do it. It's like,
Right.
it's weird. Like other countries, they've got private public partnership programs all over the place. In Africa, this is so difficult to find. It's like they
Yeah.
make it hard for you as a private investor instead of making it easy for you so that the whole country can eat. I just don't get that.
Yeah.
It's like, do they not
I saw
see
Austin
the
Holloman
relationship?
said that. Did you see also Holloman's comment? He said that, yeah, import everything. Africa's still going on the whole, yeah, let's tax imports and import revenue
Oh,
and
it's
stuff like
pretty
that.
high price.
Yeah, he just
100
recently said
percent.
that.
Hmm.
And people get
Yeah, it's
angry with somebody like Austin Holloman for telling the truth, right? He said, well, I like Kenya. And this is a young guy who's going traveling the world. And when somebody in Black America, after Black Americans give their honest and successful Africa, they wanted to come for his neck. How dare you? And that's what gets annoyed about Ghanaians, right? You're not allowed to give an honest. I wrote an article right on my VAO website. I said about a year ago. I said, "Are we allowed to criticize Ghana?" I didn't get the memo. Are we Black people in America allowed to say anything about Ghana that we don't like and everything?
mm-hmm.
Homelessness, the sanitation problems, infrastructure, and everything. We're not allowed to say that. If
Well,
you're
here's the thing,
saying,
Bala.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, it is part of the issue, right? Unfortunately, with this whole, let's just say, this whole kumbaya, we're all African situation is this, right? People usually conflate the issues, right? So sanitary issues has nothing to do with poverty. That's something which
right,
people need to realize. You go to a village, right? Villages are clean. Trust me, go to a Kenyan village right now.
right. No, I know,
95%
I've seen them.
of them, they're clean, right? People take care of their compound. The only issue in the cities are that the people who are there are squatters. They don't own that land, so their
Yeah,
behavior
shanty.
is
They build
bad.
shanty town.
Yeah,
They
it's
build
like they just
shanty
build a shanty,
towns.
right? It's
And
got
if you let me
nothing to
tell you
do with
something, and
poverty.
if you say if you like in Liberia, right? They built this place called West Point, Logan Town, and everything. So, oh, Liberia got slums. Yeah, but those
Hmm.
people came from the interior, right? And
Hmm.
to Monrovia built all these shanty towns with no plumbing and everything. Oh, we got slums. And then when you try to tell them, you got to go back. Why don't you go back to your town, your village, and farm? And Liberia had incentives for people to farm everything, but they would rather they like the nightlife of living in a friggin' shack and then going and hanging out the streets and everything, rather than live the village life. And then what kills about Africans, right? They'll swear up and down, "Oh man, African culture, everything." But why is it that you go to West Africa, everybody abandoned the village life? You know, if
Right.
Africans went back to the villages and everything like that, spent another like 100 years in the villages and got themselves together before they try to take on the modern world, and then gradually, like you got people in China still living in villages, you know, you have people in parts of Korea still living in villages and everything like that. I mean, Myanmar, places like that, but they have electricity and they try to do the modern world, but they live in a village setting. You know,
Mhm.
it's like the African basically sees, instead of building the continent and everything, they see African Americans like, oh, these modern people and everything like that. and it's almost like a shame to like to be the African roots. But so they want is us to adopt that, so they feel good about themselves. It's like
Hmm.
you got African Americans, you want African Americans to come to Africa and live in a village with know anything, right? Yet you want to come to America and live in the city. But I have to prove my Africanness by living in a village. Remember when Go Black was in the village in Malawi? Remember that video? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, you gotta
Mhm.
come here. Like, dude, man, why would anybody do? I mean, that's a nice place. I go like, hey, but dude, I'm not gonna no black person, and it's always African Americans.
Mhm.
How come you don't ask the black Bolivians, black Afro Mexicans, or to come to the village? It's something about African Americans. Everybody seems like they want to conquer us and they want to rein us in. And we got to bring African Americans like this. It's like I said, sometimes I wish we weren't so popular, and then we could probably do a real Pan African movement. But everybody wants to basically, oh yeah, tell us what to do. Come here, come here, come here, and everything. And it's like, and this is not what Pan African is all about. Pan African should be about I benefit, you benefit, and let's work together, build a continent, build the economy, and everything. Let's have a 100-year plan to pull ourselves up, so you can be strong on the continent, we can be strong in America, and we can look out for each other. Pan Africans shouldn't be like
Mhm.
let's share the misery. You know, I'm poor, you're poor. Let's all just sit here in misery and mediocrity. One thing I hate is
Well, that's the issue. Yeah.
mediocrity.
Hmm.
You know,
It's, yeah. See, to me, that's the issue I have. It's like the standards, right? The bar is so low. It's like, oh, we just have to be together. It's like, okay, well, it's like literally, it's like a Dusty's club, and I'm thinking, bro, we
yeah, it's
may be
always
Dusty now,
let's
but we're
kick
not
the
working.
dust. You know,
Yeah.
if you say okay, like when we created the BAIO, we
Mhm.
said look, we want infrastructure, right? You say look, we love Africa and everything like that, but we know that us being a first world people, right? And we studied it, right? We took years to study, right? We're saying is infrastructure a white thing? And then we came to the
Mhm.
conclusion, convinced ourselves that having running water, having electricity, having schools, having a modern way of life, and everything like that is not white, you know.
No.
And then we went back in history, right? There's a difference between being Western and being modern, And the only region of the world that has not figured that out is Africa. They think Western is being a modern is being Western, and they basically like, oh, you're not living a real African life and whatnot. So therefore, what that does is turn a lot of black people in the West off because it's like, okay, man, that means I got to
Mhm.
give up my, everything. I got to go back to subsistence living, kind of stuff like this. I got to do all this stuff like this. And the bottom line is, and then you got to look at the people, and then you talk about. Then the dangerous thing is, you got to say, okay, you want Western democracy, right? That's the one thing they love, right? Because they know all they have to do is rally their tribesmen and the ethnic group, right, to get the power of the state. You know what the power of the state is? That's real, you know. And if you read what Socrates said about democracy, right, he didn't believe it. He said the people will always basically gravitate towards demagogues and people that's going to give them free stuff, you know. And the average person, a state needs to be a republic. He believes in the idea of the republic, right? And then you can enfranchise people over a time period when they have to have a stake in the country and they have to be informed and educated, right? Lee Kuan Yew, president of the founding father of Singapore, said democracy only works when you have racial and religious harmony in the country, right? You have
Yep.
middle class and
Mhm.
people educated and stuff like this. You cannot call yourself a so-called democracy when people are terrified if one ethnic group gets in power, right?
Yeah.
And they live in fear because they put all their tribesmen in the police positions and stuff like this and
Yep.
everything. You got to
Mhm.
walk around. That's not democracy. That's not pluralism. Dr. Sun said there's men of ideas, right? And there's men of action. You can be a man of action, but you have no ideas. And then sometimes a man has a men of ideas, but they do no action. So you got to be both, right? We have to have a culture where
Mhm.
in Africa and black people graduate to the point where we're united on ideas. I do like your show because because people across different backgrounds share ideas, you know,
Hmm.
and we figured out we realized we have a lot in common together, right? But you and I
Yeah.
and everybody else are just a small minority. We're never going to be able to control a
Oh
country
yeah,
and
true.
everything like that, you know, because we're just, you know, and we went to Kenya and said, you know, so let's start a Kaisori and I'm a join you. Man, we be, man, they're like, get your ass out of here. We like our tribalism like the way we is, you know?
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So the only thing we could do, right, is support my idea of an Afghanistan, you know, a new state
Hmm.
for people like us, right? People like us, slave descendants, expats, educated people who are black first, black oriented to build this new state of people who are identify as black with ideas, you know? That means I don't give a damn where you come from, right? So long as your ideas, you know what I'm saying? We never had that.
Hmm.
Everybody basically let themselves go. As soon as you, every time you see Jamari, you see a guy, he's an absolute guy. Then when they basically, when they start running for office, right? Then their true side comes out, you know? They start going out there, you know, they get out there, do their jig, tribal dance and whatnot, you know? They start talking a bunch of stupid, xenophobic nonsense and stupid tribalist nonsense. I see it playing out in Liberia right now, you know? With this election, you know? You know, everybody brings tribalism and African politics bring people to the lowest level. You know, and I don't know what the future is for our race. And like I said, I stopped saying that black people created civilization. So I rebuke people. No, we didn't. You know, we were not the Moors. We did not conquer Europe. We didn't build pyramids. We didn't do none of that shit. You know, we're
Yeah.
just as dusty as our ancestors were. You know, the bottom line is this. So I want somebody to try to prove me wrong. You know, so
Yeah,
so
I think okay. So, but here's the thing, right, Carla? Like, I don't know. Okay, you should watch the show that me and Ike did on his channel about Myers Briggs personality type and all that stuff. What I notice is a lot of us in these sort of spaces are feelers, right? People that want to go
hmm
and do the kumbaya before doing the work. So for them, just
hmm
even talking about it, not the exchange of ideas, no, just the oh yeah, the whole tipism, right? That's a whole spiritual thing for them. To them, just even
yeah,
talking about it is good enough. They don't really care about real
right, right.
changes. They don't care about the face of Africa because if a strong Africa means all black people are perceived in a different light. That's true, right? The way Black Americans have helped Africans not
hmm
be seen dusty in other countries. Like if you go to Japan, they thought I was Black American, right? They had my accent. They said they think it's not African. So
Right.
there's certain perks you get than when they think you get the point. So if you have a strong Africa, or that means there's more respect for us generally, which obviously
Yeah,
means
yeah,
more.
exactly.
Yeah, I just think unfortunately there's too many people in the whole
Exactly.
kumbaya thinking that kumbaya is a solution, and it's just not.
No, we need hard choices in the black race. You know, and like I said, we're all taking L's right now. You know, Black
Mhm.
America's taking L's right now because we could be 10 times further than what we should be. You
Yeah.
know, we you know, Black America has been a real big disappointment to me. You know, and it's not necessary. You know, it's like because we have all the tools we have here, but we choose to be, we you know what it is? We choose to let the worst people in Black America rule us. You know, we let the because we don't say nothing about it. We're scared of hurting people's feelings. You know, we don't want to hear about all these rappers and entertainers what they have to say about politics. And we don't have that. Black America, look at there's people. Every time I have people tell me, Colin, man, can you reach out to the Congressional Caucus? I call it the Congressional Black Caucus. You know, I say, look,
Yeah.
in Congress, right? Your congressman is your representation in the federal government, right? Your district, right? But the
Hmm.
bottom line is this: the Democratic Party appoints black funds and supports who they want to fund, right? So we're the only group of people where you have a congressman who has 2 years, gets elected every 2 years. You're supposed to change your congressman like you change your underwear, and then that's the way the system's set up. When the political waves go by, they out, the in, out, whatever like that. Only the black congressman, right, stays in office for like 56 years. They stay in
Hmm.
office longer than the senators do. Why? Because there's no alternative. You probably don't know
Hmm.
that. Study it. All the black John Lewis died in office. John Conyers died in office. You know, these guys stay in office for all you do. Why? Because long as they basically say what the Democratic political boss said, they're not beholden to the people, right? So what happened is in my area, right? I have my congressman is a guy named Riddell because I live in my area where I live in Chester. This part of Virginia is predominantly white,
Right.
and we have a lot of black people, middle class people, but the other area is Bobby Scott, a black guy. He looks like he's white, but he's black. And I see him at events and whatnot. I do my health fair events and whatnot, and he's like a nice guy, but he has no ideas. He's been there since the '90s, and Bobby Scott. And I'm like, yo, and I said to somebody, what the hell does he do? All everybody does, I'm gonna take a picture with Congressman Scott. He always show up to these black events. And I'm saying to myself, okay, but he's in the area of Newport News and Hampton, everything, predominantly black districts. They create these predominantly black districts, right? And nobody runs against him. He has a
Mhm.
job for life. And I'm saying to myself, if they cut up this district, right, and he had to run an open district, I'd vote against him just to get him out of there. But I can't because in the black areas, the voter turnout is so low, right? He knows he has to do nothing.
Mhm.
And so the bottom line, all he has to do is do what the people, the bosses of the political party, Andrew Ocasio Cortez, and all these other people, the squad they're terrified of, say to do. And
Yeah.
they keep their job. They have no Black America, for the most part, have no political because the black middle class did not live in these areas where we could throw them out of office. We have
Mhm.
no friggin' power whatsoever. New York City, where I was born at right here. Do you think in a million years if we were still living in New York City, an idiot like Mayor Adams would be there? No. You know, you think that
Right.
Brandon Johnson of Chicago would be there if the black middle class hadn't fled because of crime and everything like that, in Chicago? No. You know, so we have no political. We've been chased all over. Hey, we were chased out of cities like Detroit. We were chased out of Pittsburgh, chased out of Gary, Indiana, because of failed political, economic sabotage from the black community and the white racist community, right? And so I'm seeing the same pattern, right? As when people start come Africa, So we're supposed to go and be in Africa and be in the same position. We're being taken advantage of and have no political voice. No anything. There has to be a way where if you people are serious about Black America coming to Africa, we have to be able to build our own enclaves and stuff like that. We have to have special things like access to the IMF, access to the World Bank, access to things like that. No one ever talks about that. Everything when you hear Ghana, right? And my battery's low. Somebody get this all out. Ghana is all about what they can get out of us. They come to cities like Houston, right? And they bring the mayor up there. He's all, oh, the mother. Yo, look, fool. If you're from Houston, your ancestors more likely come from Angola or the Congo, right? So they bring this
Mhm.
fool over here one night. He's ready to give the city pension fund and all his billions of dollars away to Ghana. Ghana's slick. They go to places like Baltimore and they get all kinds of stuff and they bring back to. And yeah, they're smart. They're getting the other thing. But don't tell me that's Pan Africanism when you got your hand out and you're raping and you're benefiting and we're not benefiting whatsoever. And some black people in America, they're satisfied with any sort of kumbaya connection. Oh yeah, the Ghanaian president. So what?
Mhm.
Yeah, and Nana Adu plays both sides of the fence. On one hand, he tries to throw Burkina Faso under the bus. Remember that he was sitting down talking to Blinken? Yeah, I'm concerned about the Russians, but that all got knocked off the radar. He thought he was in the headlines with this Hamas attack.
Mhm.
Now he was like a fool. Do you think the United States gives a damn about Russia's Wagner Group in Burkina Faso? They're close to my border. So basically what he's saying is he's trying to use that as a way to get some money out of America. Hey, if you give me $100 million, I'll keep an eye on Burkina Faso for you. There is no integrity, no anything. And the president Tinubu wanted to invade Niger. And I believe right now, if he did with Niger's armies are fucking beasts. They'll roll right in there, take Abuja, and you see those Nigerians running like little cowards. And next thing you know, and next Ruto is used by the Biden and them to bring Kenyan troops to Haiti because The United States don't want to get his hands dirty. That's a deal brokered by his Uncle Tom, Secretary of Defense and everything like that. And these black Negroes in NATO, and AFRICOM, So there's a lot of shenanigans going on, right? But the average African American, when they're Linda Hatfield Green, the UN ambassador, whatnot, all they see is black folks in America doing something in Africa. And that's all. And I'm beyond that. I know for a fact that it matters. Black people in America, they think anything dealing with black people, particularly Africa, is good. I don't think like that. Some Negroes need to stay their ass right here in America and shut the hell up, because they're making situation worse. You know, and that's what it is. The
Right.
year return was just a cover for the United States to infiltrate Africa, and do all this kind of nonsense and everything, and make connections and everything. Send their spies and the Negropeans over under the thing.
Oh,
That's why I said all this Hollywood type. And so I tell
yeah,
you, we could do a whole show on that, man. I could get deep on this shit. And
yeah.
so like,
No, that makes a
yeah,
lot. In
so
fact, I remember what's the name? Is it? I forgot which one. Kamala Harris, right? Went to Ghana, tried to
yeah,
tell the Ghanaian government to start changing the laws towards let's get busy together as an example.
yeah, the LGBTQ shit. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
No, so
and
you're
that's
right.
how
It's
brazen
an
they
information.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you have. And Kamala Harris, a few years ago, she was a proud Indian American.
Right.
Everybody changes their race at a matter of convenience. Barack Obama. He's a Barack Obama is actually, you guys can use to claim him. You can have him back, right? You know, Kaiser, can you please take Barack Obama back?
Oh
We don't want him. He's a
he,
Kenyan American.
he's Black
So you can
American.
be proud that the first. No, 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 no. Look, I voted for Obama twice. I see now, right? I'm looking closely. That dude is not African American. He's not one of us. His wife is, but he's not one of us. He's not one of us. Yeah, I can accept him as a Kenyan American. I can even call him a bro like this, but he is not one of us. I'm looking at some of his old speeches and some of the stuff he says, and when I said this nigga crazy. I said, yo, he's somebody that I culturally, and that doesn't have our lineage. We were so happy to have somebody black up there. What we see now, man, it's like, man, Kamala Harris. These people don't have our heritage. They don't have a thing. And the bottom line, anybody could be so-called African. Now they call it
How
Charlize
about the
Theron.
good doctor? How about forget his name now, but you know the doctor.
Doctor Who.
I think he was like a head of. He's a doctor. He's like a surgeon. He was one of the black. He's a Republican, right?
Oh,
I,
you talking about
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah. Top of
yeah.
my
I don't
head,
know. His
I
name is
get I
right
get
there.
the
I don't.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. There you go. How about the good
No,
doctor
no,
Ben
no,
Carson?
no, no. Ben Carson is African American. He's a lineage. He comes from slavery, came from poverty. I like Ben Carson. I like him. And matter of
Oh,
fact,
okay.
you could be a black conservative. Like I like to. This is the way I see, in my opinion, right? And people don't say falls worth. If anybody respects what I have to say, you know, I don't care about your political views, so long as you're honest with it. You could be a black conservative. You can be a liberal, Marxist, communist, whatever like that, right? And also if you're a foreign black, right? Let's say you're a Nigerian American, please be a Nigerian American. You know, please be a Kenyan American like what Obama was. White people basically have this thing, and they think they're slick, right? They think they're real slick, right? On one hand, they do try to divide black people based on ethnicity, right? But when it comes down to it, they pick and choose when they want to friggin' acknowledge somebody African American, right? Like Barack Obama. Oh, he's the first African American. Wives, you know what that is. I'm gonna break it down to you, right? They always want to use that as okay. See, this is your payment for slavery. You know, this is your payment for slavery. We had a black family in the White House, and a lot of black people. Like I said, I don't care what about reparations. Black people ain't getting reparations. Why? Because white people basically everything, even the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement wasn't about black people, right? It was about white people correcting their historic wrongs, and doing the right thing. They said, well, we didn't really benefit from the civil rights movement. It was never intended for you to benefit from the civil rights movement. All they do is clearing the books, clearing their conscience, just like affirmative action. That wasn't really designed to remedy black people. That's just designed to say this is what we did and everything. So if as the black people will benefit from the outcome, right? Because when they did affirmative action, what they did was they included everybody. They included immigrants, they included handicapped, gays, Chinese, they included Indians, everybody, right? And they can say we had affirmative action. And so white people get away with this stuff because they're the ones holding the power. When Barack Obama was elected, right? They said the first thing they were saying was, "See, America, this is post-racial America." This is a post-racial. And then what happened was, around Obama's second term, right? We started having all these police killings, and these racial incidents. When he won that second term, that's when just all hell started breaking loose in America. And everybody saying, "What the hell's going on?" I thought we had a black family in the White House and everything like that. It doesn't matter. Some of the people in
How
this
about
country,
reparations then? What do you think about that?
reparation is a farce. You understand something, right? Black people have nothing else to run on. You know, you asked for affirmative action, they gave it to you, right? You asked for integration of schools, they gave it to you, right? You asked for, you said Hollywood was so white, they gave you leading roles, right? So the last thing that the black political class could rally around is reparations. And you saw what happened in California, right? They had this big reparations thing, right? And they say, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna sit down and discuss reparations and everything." You know what happened? Then when it came down to, Diablo said, "Oh, we weren't talking about payments. We're talking about studying it." And all these people, Tariq Nasheed, all came out like, "Yeah, see." And I had people out there, "Kala, I guess you were wrong, Kala. I guess you were wrong, Kala. Pan African's dead, Kala. We're getting our reparations check. You see, some people gonna get me." I said, "Look, one thing's for sure. I don't know a whole lot, right? But like the words of Nas, right? He says, you could be poor and still nobody want a nigga having shit. Well, if it's worth having, right? You ain't getting it. That's what I do know about being black in America, right? Ain't nobody giving you shit, that unless you take it. Nothing was ever given to us. The idea that white people is going to hand you over $1 trillion, right, because it was the right thing to do, you got to be insane. Then I broke it down to them. Reparation is paid by a vanquished country by the forced through the victors. Germany was required to pay reparations to Europe, right, before it got came out of receivership. Same thing with Japan. Russia never paid no reparations because Russia was never defeated. And Russia committed more murder than Nazi Germany did. How many people did Stalin killed? 10, 30, 20 million people, but they weren't defeated. They were an ally. They're permanent members of the Security Council, so they don't have to pay reparations. See, this is just basic education, and people really know what they were talking about, right? They said, "Well, the Japanese got reparations in after the thing." No, that was a 1988 Civil Rights Bill, right? And it was a rider, a sticker on the bill, right, that said that at the time the United States was winding down its operations in Japan, right? And the Japanese Americans that was living in Japan said, "We're still owed compensation." That was a compensation thing. So each Japanese family got $25,000, right? If you really added up what the Japanese lost on the east coast of the west coast of the United States, from farmland to business, and everything, they would be in the United States would have to pay hundreds of billions of dollars out. But it was just a settlement. Okay, that satisfied that. Ronald Reagan it put it on signed the Civil Rights Act of 1988. Excuse me, year 1988, right? That Civil Rights Act actually made it harder for black people to prove their racism in a wide-ranging class action case about race, right? But at the same time, we were out there jumping, yeah, civil rights, civil rights. And we're trying to tell you, no, if you look at I was in college at the time, when you look at the bill, it has nothing to do with improving civil rights. It's about lessening and making you basically prove your case on an individual basis, not a class basis, right? At the same time, they stuck a rider, like this was a sticker. When you have a rider, it's like a line item, they stick it on a bill and say, pass that along with it. So when you sign, right, that rider right there could be just a little tiny paragraph. Such and such, 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 Japanese get $25,000 boom, and it rolled into law on that, on that bill at the last minute. At the same time, what was going on in South Korea was there was an uprising in South Korea. South Korea had become industrialized, right? And the South Koreans like, yo, we want the United States bases and we want the military out of here. We want democracy, right? And so, therefore, there was all this turmoil there. Then Ronald Reagan turned his back on South Korea, and at the same time, Japan was like, I don't. The Cold War was winding down, and Japan was like, I don't think we need all these U.S. troops in there and everything like that. And the United States said, well, we still need you guys. We need to stay here for a few more years, and that's why they passed that bill and gave the Japanese compensation, right? But black people in America have no. You can't get you can't get compensation, much less reparations. The reparations is when a country has been defeated, right? And they're brought before international court or whatever like that, and to stop the bombing, stop the to get back their ports and their infrastructure and everything like that. They agree to pay reparations for a certain amount of time of their gross national product and everything like that until it's paid off. Germany paid off its final reparations, I think, by the 1980s. It's like 40 years, you know. They paid billions of dollars to the state of Israel, right? Israel wasn't a state. Also, you pay reparations to a state. You don't pay less. So, in order for reparations to Jews to receive reparations, right? Which some people say the Jews weren't targeted, right? And Jews had this thing about the Holocaust. Oh yeah, there was this propaganda about the Holocaust. Now, I'm not going to be a Holocaust denier here, but at the same time, the Germans said no, it never happened. So the
Do you have
Jewish
a
people.
YouTube channel by chance? Sorry to interject there.
No, you can catch me on Bomani Tyamba's channel. We do shows. I'm in my business selling season. We were doing shows twice a week, right? We do 2 5-hour shows a week, but now we're down to one show a week on Saturday nights. It's a Bomani Tyamba show, Saturday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Every Saturday we do shows, and we talk about geopolitics, Pan Africanism, and we're realistic when it comes to Pan Africanism. And we tell some black people, no, you need to stay your ass in America. Don't go to Africa. You're not ready for it. We don't want everybody on the continent, right? Because a lot of people are screwing up big time, and making the whole movement look bad, making the whole movement look bad. So what I'm saying is, the what happened was, the black people do not have any state. The Jewish people created the state of Israel, right? And the state of Israel became the recipient of the reparations money that Germany was paying out, because you have to be a nation state. Reparation means repair. You got to repair a state. You have to repair what you did in Belgium. You had to repair what you did. And Belgium is not even a real country. It's two countries speak French and a thing. It was like a derelict King Leopold, oh, you're Belgium, and the only reason why they exist is because of what they did in the Congo. It made people. It has international partners. Belgium's a Delaware country. I've been there. Anyway, but the bottom line is this: Germany had to pay all that out, right? And it paid it out, right, with only half. I don't think Eastern Germany was responsible. I think it was just Western Germany. I'm not sure about that, right? I'm not sure about that. I have to do my research, right? The Eastern Germany have to pay, along with Western Germany. I'm not absolutely sure, but Italy had to pay out too. You know, had to pay out reparations for the damage it did. To the victor belongs the America, right? It's completely dependent on the white man, right? And you have no power and you have nothing, no means to do it. So when people start talking about reparations, they tell me that it's silly. The only thing Black America could be serious about is nationhood, right? And that's the only serious argument the Black race in America is. You reached the plateau. You did everything. You had a president in the White House. You did everything. We produced some world's first Black billionaires. We have more Black millionaires and billionaires in America than we ever had. We have money. We have all that stuff like this, right? But we don't have any peace and happiness. Why? Because when you look at the political scene, we have no political power. And you cannot have 45 million people, right, with no political power. It's not going to
Kyla,
happen.
Kyla,
Sooner
Kyla,
or
hold,
later,
hold on a
something's going
minute.
to happen in America. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you like going in on the Jews and whatnot, but but I'm
No,
just
I'm
kidding a
not.
little bit.
I'm
But
not an anti-Semite. I'm not
I'm just
anti-Semite.
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Our other favorite Negro just came in the on the panel, Felipe. So just
Oh,
just
Philip,
so you
Philip,
know.
Philip. Yeah, my buddy, my
Uh,
buddy.
Is it
Yeah.
Philip or Felipe or my bad
Philippe,
about
I
following
Philippe,
you wrong?
lawyer from
Philippe.
California.
I answer to all of the above. I'm not real particular about it. My name is actually Philippe, but
Okay,
I answer to Philip. I answer to Felipe. It's all
sounds
the
the same thing.
it's all the same guy.
Yeah, I hope
But,
we can have an intelligent conversation. Phillips is
yeah,
very smart, sharp,
yeah,
sharp.
always, Kyla, and I listen. I you went through my bullet points that I traditionally talk about on the reparations thing, but the primary thing before you even deal with what the facts were was I always talk about leverage. And the problem that Black Americans have is that they don't have any leverage to force any of the reforms
I'm
that,
sorry. May I ask a question on this point?
yeah,
And part of why I'm kind of barging in is because I'll be here for
no,
10
go
minutes
ahead.
and I
It's a
got to hop
dialogue.
on to
Yeah.
another thing. But one of the things that people bring up is regarding just the pure logic of it. Like by logic, I mean presumably something is owed, right? Is it owed or not? Because that's something I don't think that. Well, first of all, at least it must be presented right as a position. So, do you think that this reparation is owed somehow, either from the 50 acres and a mule promise, or some kind of way that this money is in fact owed?
Well, I absolutely do. And anyone that has heard me comment on this on YouTube, uh, I it's owed for a lot of different reasons. It just depends on which part you want to take on. But let me just lay out the four corners of the argument. The biggest point is it is my view that in order for reparations on behalf of the Black Americans to be paid, the Black Americans need to work with specifically Nigeria and Congo, two of the countries. I think 40% of the Black Americans are of Nigerian ancestry. Um,
Mostly Eastern Nigeria and the Congo, Eastern Nigeria, Cameroon, and
right,
Congo. That was I would say like 70% African Americans. You know that came
right.
here from the
So
1600s. Yeah, that's the truth.
exactly right, Kyla, and he and I have talked about this before, so um, he knows where I'm going with this. But we all need to do our DNA tests, and what has to happen is that the Black Americans need to re-engage with the countries DNA-wise that they came from, because here's the reality. The reality of it is that Black Americans are actually Nigerians, Congolese, Senegalese, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, Benin. That's who they are, who have been falsely imprisoned in the United States for over 400 years. Now, why do you have to do it that way? And it has to do with, and this is an issue that a lot of Black Americans are starting to see, but they don't really wrestle with it, which is there was a case that was decided that was seminal called Dred Scott versus, oh my God. Well, it's the state of Missouri, but I'm trying to remember.
Sanford.
Thank you, Sanford. And in that case, Justice Taney tries to settle once and for all the identity of Africans. Okay, and that's a whole other thing. Black Americans don't come into existence until 1867 after Reconstruction. So, or I'm sorry, after the Civil War. And so, in that case, in Dred Scott versus Sanford, Justice Taney lays out part of the reason why Africans are separate but equal is because they did not come from nations, they came from kingdoms. And so they had no citizenship within those nations to exchange for American citizenship. And so therefore, they are separate but equal. Okay, and the opinion is 300 pages. I'm summarizing that into a couple of sentences. But here's the point. The point is, if the Black Americans do their DNA tests with African ancestry, the one that can link you all the way back to your tribes, your ethnic groups, and then engage the state to say, we bring this claim as Nigeria versus the United States, as Sierra Leone versus the United States, where each one of these people at the time that they were sold into slavery were worth this amount of money. We are grandfathering them in as citizens and bringing the claim on not only their behalf, but on the kingdoms and now the state of Nigeria or the state of Congo or the state of, Angola, as to the actual economic loss from each one of those people that was taken. Because the economy at that time was driven by agriculture, and it was also driven by gold and resources, later to become palm oil.
If I may interrupt before you go into the question of legitimacy, because so in anticipating where you were going with it, I kind of see part of my overall estimation of this view in terms of its utility. It's about a better politic. I think it's better politically rather than do internal infighting within a nation, right? That says, hey, you and this you person that apparently owes me is a fellow citizen, or is a fellow citizen within the country, United States, right? And they are like, well, it wasn't me, it was my grandfather, blah blah blah, all those kinds of things. It's more dicey politically than for it to be what you're talking about, right? Like a nation state on that kind of a level. Definitely way better politically than to
the only thing I would say about that, Ike, is this. The only thing I would say about that is that here's a problem, right? The only country that can actually do that is Liberia, because Liberia, if you look at the Constitution,
well, how many do you need? How many countries do you
need? Teague, right? No. What I'm saying is this. Let me say this. Philip. Let me say this, right?
Yep.
See, the thing is, these countries that you say Ghana, Nigeria are not, or were not created by Africans. Nigeria is barely a republic itself right now. It's falling apart. And a lot of these countries, Cameroon is owned by the French. And a lot of these countries. The only country that's free right now in that part of Africa is Angola, because they fought a 32-year war. They uprooted the Portuguese, because we could all thank the Portuguese, right? And give the Portuguese a round of applause for being the most backward country in Europe, right? And having land, right? And so when the Angolans rose up against them, right? And unlike the French, who were still in West Africa, and the British they really uprooted the Portuguese and got them the hell out of there. And that's why I'm so close with a lot of Angolans, right? Because they're like, yeah, we own this shit now. Same thing with Mozambique, My point I'm trying to make about Liberia is the fact that when you look at the Constitution, right, it clearly stated about why this country was founded, right? Why do we, the people in North America who were neglected by the government? It was an answer to Tawny's thing. It was written even before he said the Dred Scott decision, but it was saying because we were neglected. People don't understand something. There were free black communities that developed, right, even before the English people had settled in America. There were Black Dutch, Black Spanish, Black Portuguese in places like New York, all along the eastern seaboard of America, right? When the English came here in large numbers, these black communities became maroon communities, isolated. You got parts of New Jersey, parts of New York, parts of Massachusetts, Nantucket, parts of the eastern shore of Virginia, parts of North Carolina.
Kala, can we? I want to. What you're saying is wisdom and brilliant. I just want to stay focused on the reparations piece and the reality.
Let me get to that. Let me get to that, Phil. Let me get to that. I was about to get to that. Okay, so my point is about this. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is this, though. If you look at Liberia, right? Liberia, and the way it was set up, right? Liberia is the only country in Africa where black people, African Americans, can go there.
Is that of any consequence, though? That's because is Liberia not enough to do it.
Well, no. I'm saying you start with Liberia, right? And
Well,
Liberia should be
Yeah.
the
argue
start
a
with
little bit.
Liberia,
I figured,
and then
okay, but
Hold on.
and because I gotta, I gotta hop off here shortly. That's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah, I want
And
to get to the core of this.
okay, so
That
go ahead.
Liberia may be the easiest structurally to start with, but the core of the argument is these Black Americans that are in the United States, they actually are Ghanaians or Nigerians.
I disagree with that. I disagree.
Yeah, I knew that was
disagree.
going to be the next
but
thing because I heard this
I
argument
disagree.
in a
I
previous
disagree.
stream.
You know why?
Saying,
Because
"Oh, you're not from Liberia."
Can I make my point?
I have
Can I make
a
my-
lot of people. I
Can
have a
I
lot
make
of people
my
living in
point
the
and then
country.
you
Go ahead,
can
brother.
argue
Go ahead.
Let
brother.
Philippe.
Can I make my legal point and then you
Go ahead,
can
brother.
argue it?
Okay, go ahead.
Here's the problem, Colin. As you said, reparations are a vehicle from nation state to nation state. Black Americans, there is no nation that they came from as Black Americans. It does not exist. So,
Well, the state of Israel did not exist
but that's a whole,
at the time, right?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let Felipe go. Like that doesn't negate that. He's just stating the fact. Okay. Then what, Philippe?
So the point I'm trying to make is legally, we are whatever is in the passport of our DNA, period, full stop. The proof is in the DNA itself. You came from a series of nations. It was Nigeria, it was Angola, it was Congo, it was whatever the hell is on your DNA test. And that's provable. All of these other inventions are not easily provable in a court of law or any place else. So let me make because this is the key point, that in unifying with where you came from, then you can quantify what the country lost in cost, because you can actually look and say, for example, the profit margin on one individual slave was 1,200%. Okay, so if you take that same slave that came from Ghana, say, and how much was that farmer worth when he was working in the kingdom of whichever? You can
Okay. So what? And not to. So
no, but
because
that's the core of it.
Because I when you were talking about the agricultural sector and all those other kinds of things, I kind of anticipated that you were going to have a way of calculating, right, of estimating. Right. But we know how so that point is solid. Now I'm going to ask you, whom else has been able, and I'm not talking about whether it's possible or not. Of course, you have. There's always a first time for a particular kind of construct, right? Obviously, no big deal. Is there anyone else that has done this DNA thing as an approach, or any kind of other parallels or analogs somewhere else?
Yeah, here's the thing right here. Let me say this, right? As far as like DNA testing and stuff like that, if you would ask African ancestry DNA, I would go to regular DNA of 2023 because they always try to put you to a different tribe. There's no DNA that links you to tribe. DNA links you to a region, right? So in that region, Black people basically may be of several different tribes, right? In the region, the same DNA in the area. It goes by region, not tribe, right? You can't go down to a tribe and quantify. And also, there's a lot of people that migrated, Africans that migrated from one part to another. It says there's a lot of crew people that migrate along the coast all the way down to the Gulf of Guinea, the Gulf of Guinea, the Brighter Biafra, all the way up to center Gambia. So you can't say, okay, I'm a crew tribe, but where am I from?
We're going into the weeds again. Look, here's the answer. The answer.
Let me Philip. You let me finish. You let me.
Kyle has never done with
say what you said, right? Let me finish what I was saying. Okay, so my point I'm trying to make is this, right? When you start talking about governments, right? And I studied Africa, right? And you said government solved nothing, right? There's no country in Africa, right? In my opinion, right, can ever basically say I claim this because if you're gonna say you're gonna get money off the, for instance, my ancestors enslaved in America, right? It has to go to an area where we black people in America control those funds and everything, and we build for ourselves.
We're
I'm
going
not going
into
to
the
give no
weeds.
reparations to
We're going into the weeds.
a corrupt
We're,
government in Nigeria.
we're going
I'm
Tyler,
not
into
going to
if
the
you
give.
were
weeds.
I'm
writing
not
the
going to say.
opinion
I'm
in
going to
the
say
I,
court
I get that,
decision,
but we're going into the
yeah.
weeds because you're talking about structures. About you haven't even got the money yet to answer
Okay,
Ike's
yeah, but I
question.
know. But I'm saying no. What I'm
Wait,
saying is,
to answer
what
Ike's
you're doing,
question.
you're legitimizing these countries. You know.
No,
So
here's the
you
problem.
actually would go.
Here's the problem, Kala.
So you say Cameron, right?
Kala,
President B has been there for 44 years, right?
come
The
on.
most corrupt man in the world. He could basically sue on behalf of me to get my reparations. Come on, are you kidding me?
He's not the whole country, but let me make the answer to
He
Ike.
runs a country, bro. Have you studied Africa, Philip?
Hold on, Kala.
I do. I'm making my point of studying these countries.
Hold on, Kala. Let me make this point, and then we can come back to what you're talking about, because I think
Go ahead.
that's like step 3. The answer to Ike's question is yes. The United States has paid out reparations, particularly to Native people. They paid out to the Indian and Eskimo populations. They paid out.
And Elizabeth Warren.
Well, okay, but Ottawa of Michigan, they paid out. The Chippewas of Wisconsin, they paid out. The Seminoles of of Florida, they paid out. The Sioux of South Dakota, they paid out.
What's the money part that you were talking about? My time is coming up here. So you mentioned about getting the money. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in the case, and I'm also looking at not just the United States, because it was actually the Eskimos were paid by Canada. But let's take the example of the Ottawas of Michigan. They received $32 million in 1986 based on the 1839 treaty that was breached. The Chippewas of Wisconsin.
Treaty, keyword.
Okay, Kala, but listen. You gotta listen. There are so many legal scholars that have worked on this. Johnny Cochran was working on this. This is not an easy slam dunk.
Hey, yo, the bottom line is this: everybody for the most of them working on reparations, and not a damn thing has ever happened. They've had this biggest thing in the state of California, like you saw right there, right? And all these black people up there make fools of themselves. When then Gavin Newsom said, "Oh no, we're not going to give no college," and then it said we're going to study it, we're going to try to get you education. And so when black people figured out they weren't getting no money, when that they abandoned the whole thing.
You're not going to get anything without any leverage, which is where
So I'm gonna leave with this, right? And I like the aspects that you guys highlighted here regarding the legal parties that have to contend this in court. You need to establish some kind of entity. You're talking about, okay, I'm going to point to this region via DNA, via this particular set of nations, and all those other kinds of things. And yes, and by a preponderance of evidence, you can establish some kind of entity, right? And then this other aspect of leverage, I tend to see as well. At least what you're saying is worth pursuing, because it's one of those things where by the time you get there, you're going to have so much of this power / leverage that you might not even need. What you're going to get is not even going to look like reparations. It's almost going to, I'm trying to create somewhat of a paradox here where it's like, okay, the kind of leverage the kind of work you're going to need to build to get a leverage, to get reparations, by the time you get to that point, you're not going to go quote unquote need reparations anymore. Exactly. But you'll get it, but it'll not be so-called reparations anymore, because you're going to be somehow have some value or some whatever form this leverage takes, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to get. You already
got the big stick. Once you get the big stick, you don't need it anymore, and then you'll just get it.
My philosophy.
You have to have a big stick, and we don't have philosophy.
Check out the only big stick.
I gotta hop out, gentlemen. I'm off the stream on my channel, but
the old state.
Okay, bye.
All right, the diaspora needs their own state on the African continent with their own government and everything like that. There's your big stick right there.
No,
Colin,
look, we already got a state.
Several of those places.
We already got a state.
What state?
Liberia.
No, you don't. You don't have a state.
Liberia.
Hold on. Let me say this.
You have one.
But the thing is, though, like, not work. Oh, I know, but the thing is, though, the government of Liberia has its own responsibilities. So what you have to do in Liberia, right? Oh,
But
hear me out, bro.
you're
What
trying
you
to
have to do in Liberia?
go to
Oh,
square one, and you don't need
hold
to.
on, hold on,
Liberia
hold on,
exists.
hold on. Hold on. I
We
know that.
need to
Oh,
do
but Philip, let me maybe we can find some common ground here, right? That sounds good and everything like that. But at the same time, they had a coup in 1980 in Liberia, right? And the bottom line is this, though: if black people in the West, right, do not have any sort of geopolitical power or some sort of settlement where we're recognized as an entity in the country and everything, and we have oversight over whatever funds and everything. I'm not giving saying that any country is going to do the right thing by us, right? When all this money in Africa is looted, stolen. You know how much money is stolen out of Africa every year? Africa can't develop
Colin,
because billions and billions of dollars are looted and everything. So
Colin,
we're supposed to trust them to
Colin,
govern us on that? Come on.
Colin, we don't even have one nickel being flipped our way, and you're already
Oh,
telling
but
me.
I'm saying, but I'm just even saying that. I'm saying,
I
oh,
know,
I'm
but
just saying that even to
we're
say
not
something
even
like that.
we're not even at square one yet. The argument that I'm putting forward is not what the efforts in the United States have been, and also you need to file simultaneous lawsuits, just like the Japanese Americans did in the United States, so that
But you know how they got that. But you know how they got that, right? You know that was a last minute thing. It
of
was a
course
rider on the
they had been in
88
court.
civil rights bill.
They had been in court
You
for
know,
decades.
and
But
and,
that's my point.
and, you know, and Philip, you're a lawyer, right? Philip, you're a lawyer. You know that wasn't reparation. That was a compensation. That was just a quick
But
fix to settle a political expediency.
the point
You know,
why I point to that is because the Japanese in the 80s had the leverage at the trade table to make that happen. Black Americans don't have
right?
Nigeria. Hold
They had
on.
that.
They don't
They
have
had the, they
Nigeria,
have a country.
nothing. They have nothing at their back. And so they don't have the leverage at the trade table.
I agree. I agree.
They
I
don't,
agree.
hold on.
I
They
agree.
don't have a
But let me ask you a question,
they don't
Philip.
have the basic things that you need to do a reparations anything. And if you look at the history of reparations being given, that you need the nation. You said it yourself. So Liberia exists.
I know,
Why would you start again when you
but
already got a country that
oh,
exists?
oh let me say this. Let me say this, Philip. Let me say this. Well, this. Now, not quite like yes, we need a nation, right? Here's the thing, though, right? But when you look at how weak these countries are, like Nigeria, I asked a question to who was it? Somebody who was French, somebody from a francophone or
Of
Nigerian. Oh
course,
yeah,
all
Kidola.
of them are
You
weak.
know Kidola, right?
They're
Kidola.
black. They're black
Hold on.
African.
I asked Kidola. I said, look, let me ask you a serious question, right? And I was always a fan of Nigeria. I don't know why Diners still is. You know, I was always a fan of before Diners was even in this movement, right? I was a fan of Nigeria. I thought back in the '90s Nigeria was gonna be the superpower and everything like that. Boy, was I wrong. I asked him quickly, is Nigeria afraid of France? He said, well, he gave me this runaround. I said, let me ask you a question. Is Nigeria afraid of France? Right? Because if you look at it, right, Nigeria right there should be a superpower and be able to control all of West Africa. But yet it basically is so weak that it's basically doing the bidding of a European power that if it did not have, if France did not have Africa, right, it would be a third world country, you know? And I'm saying to myself, all these countries in Africa, you have Nigeria talking about it has to go to war with Niger because it wants to allow France to build a pipeline through its from the Delta region all the way through Niger, all the way to the coast because they want to bypass the Russian natural gas pipeline. I've been studying
Okay,
this since the '90s,
we're going down a
right?
political.
So, so my point, I'm trying.
The point
Let me finish. Let me
is
finish.
yes.
No, I'm saying my point I'm trying to make is every one of these countries. You see, Adu, right? He's sitting there telling Blinken, right? He's telling Blinken that, oh yeah, I'm concerned about the Wagner Group in Burkina Faso. He should be helping that young man, Troy, with his country, right? He's telling him, yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff on the thing, and I was like this, and Blinken and the people look at him like, what? Dude, we don't give a shit about Africa. And he said that's selling his soul, trying to think he can get some crumbs from a thing. Look at President Ruto
Hold
is
on,
sending
man.
freaking troops
You're going
into
down
Haiti and
you're
everything like
going
this.
down a thought hole here where
my point,
it's
my point I'm trying to make is,
yeah.
I'm trying to make when we talk about a nation state, you know, a nation state, you know, right? A nation, right? That's a people. The state is the republic. A nation state, a nation state. We have to be in order for a nation state to work. There has to be a significant number of us there in that country, right? And we have to have some sort of political power in that country that's recognized, right? Where our issues are in parliament and stuff like this. We have a flag. It'd be nice if we had our own towns and cities and everything, where the government's lobbying on our behalf. We don't even have any representation to
But
Africa
Carla,
with the
look,
World Bank,
you're
to
again
the
running.
IMF, to any framework institution. There's no black
Carla,
people in America have
Carla,
no representation in the UN.
Carla, you need an economy. You can't even get right now Black Americans to agree on how to build an economy for a freaking community. Now you're telling me about a nation
Well,
state?
because the why you know it.
No,
Hold on.
no,
Let me ask. Let me say this right.
wait
That,
a minute, wait a minute. You cannot get Black Americans in one city to agree on building a community. You can't even get them to agree on that. You can't get them
okay,
to agree.
you want me to answer that?
Hold on. No, I don't want to answer. I'm making a point. You're running ahead to tell me about nations and governments and advocacy when we don't have an economy. We don't have a business community. We
All right,
have.
you gonna let me? You are you finished?
I'm gonna let you respond,
Okay,
but
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to
Go
make
ahead.
a point. My point is, you gotta crawl before you can walk and run. Right now, you can't get Black Americans to agree on a small business philosophy. Only 2.9% of the commercial property in this country is owned and operated by Black Americans. 2%. That's terrible. Now you're going to tell me about we need this,
Well,
we need that. Listen, we can't even get a incubator for Black small businesses.
I think you.
Hold on,
Check
hold
this out.
on,
I think you.
hold on.
Philip, you talk a lot. You keep going on. You gotta let somebody in here, bro. You know,
Okay,
I understand you.
make your point, but I was
But you
trying
got
to make
when
a
you make a
point for you
point.
to respond
When
to.
you make a point. You
All right,
said several different things. Let me
go ahead,
respond to that, and
go
then I'll
ahead.
come back to you.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
My point I'm trying to make is, first of all, come to the Eastern United States, right? We have thriving black business communities here. You know, you live out in California. Here in the Eastern United States, we do got a lot of black businesses here. Open every day, manufacturing some of everything. You know, Google the top 20 black businesses in America, right? I want you to do that. Go on YouTube and click in top 20 black businesses in America. It's gonna blow your freaking mind. You know, we do got the black business right here. What we don't have right now, particularly social media, is we can't even agree on who the hell we are. We got people going
All right,
around talking about
Kyle,
I'm not black. I'm a
Kyle,
Native
what is
American.
the
I'm a
what is
copper-colored
the
Native
earning?
American. So
What
that's the
is the
nonsense.
what's the average earning for a Black American female led business? How much do they
Well, you
earn?
know, say, check this out. Hold on, check this out. What I want you to do is stop listening to that pseudo stuff you want that. Click on right now on YouTube, right? Top 20 black businesses in America,
So, Kyle,
right? I want you to do that right now.
we have more
Hold
money
on,
than
Philip.
what the Federal
Hold
Reserve.
on,
We have more money.
hold on,
We do.
Philip.
Yeah.
I want you to do this, right? Do this, right? We'll do this, right? Because I meant to get out you a couple months ago, right? I want you to go. You're a lawyer, whatnot. You're educated, man, whatnot. But I think you need to be more informed. Go click on right now YouTube top 20 black businesses in America.
Okay, so we're doing great. Is that what your
Okay,
conclusion?
okay. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you
Are we
just make
doing
a blanket
well?
statement
Are we
there's
doing
black
well?
people that throw it.
Are we doing well?
There's no. The problem is, hold on. Let me hear. Hold on. You guys said something. There is no we. I'm doing well. I own a business. I'm doing well. You know, there's no we. Where's the we? We're rugged
So
individuals in
Black
America. We have
Americans.
never been a we.
Wait. So Black
No,
Americans
where there is no we.
as
There's some black people that are doing well, and there's some black people that's up. There is no we. There's no
all right,
us. There's no our. You understand that?
of the group that's called Black Americans,
These people are going to go. These
are
people.
they doing well or are they doing
Hold
poorly?
on. Hold on. You keep saying we. There is no we. We're gonna say we're all individuals. That's the problem. You're looking at Black America through the prisms of white people. You look at us as a group. We're not a group. We're all individual. I run a family business, family-owned business. You know, we're doing well in real estate, insurance, everything like that. But I can't say that to the next black person. There's no we. We have never been a we people. It's us, our mind, this, that, other thing. It's been like that since day one. And the only
Okay.
reason why we had business one time is because we were forced to live among each other.
Okay, so let's just
Now
do
that
it.
we America opened up,
Let's just do it something simple. Household income. Can you agree to household income?
what do you mean by that?
By race,
What
household.
do you mean by
What I mean is a household, meaning one
okay,
household,
okay,
mother, father, whatever it is, by race.
okay, Phil. Let me
Because you said we're
let me let you on a
individuals,
secret, right?
so let's do individual.
Hold on. You want me to answer that? You want me
No,
to answer that, right?
you don't.
The
What
problem in Black America, right?
I'm gonna give you the stat.
Oh, you
And
hold
then
on. Do you hold?
I'm gonna give you the stat, and then
Do you
you'll
want me to
tell
answer
me if
it?
this is good or bad.
Hold on. The stats. Hold on. The stats. Let me tell you about the stats, right?
Well,
First of all, Black
we have
America
no
has
way
the
to
highest.
quantify what
Hold
you're
on,
saying.
hold on,
I can
hold
quantify what
on,
I'm.
hold on, Philip. Stop talking over me. Let me answer the question, and then you give me your stats, okay? Let me answer, then you give me your stats, okay? First of all, we have a high number of Black people who are not married, right? Out of wedlock and no marriage and whatnot. When you see people with good household incomes because they're married, you have two incomes, right? Black people in America, if you got so many single mothers, and single men, black men, they said 65% of black men in the middle class and 10% of black men are in the top income earners in America. That's your stats. That's the IRS stats, you know. But
So the problem
we're
is
not
that
building
we're
families,
single.
you know.
That's why. That the problem is that we're single, so that's why.
Yeah, we're not building families. That's what I'm saying. These
Okay,
other
so
people you're talking about that doing
if,
well, they're
if,
building families. They're young families, everything like that. They're building families. They're working together as family units. You understand?
so the
You know,
problem
see what I'm
is
saying?
that
When you
we're unmarried. That's the problem.
exactly.
And
We're
if we
not
were married,
marrying young. We're not
the
building
stat
families.
would be
Yes,
better.
yes. If you had a wife at home and your wife at home, you have a household, that's less expenses that you have. Instead of her having a condo and you having a house over here and you're paying child support when that, if you're all in one roof or that, your numbers were way better than any of the Chinese anybody else. But we're not like that, you know? So, like I said, let's stop crucifying our people. Like I said, like this, you know, we were was number one in America as far as like everything because we had two income households at one time. You know, we adopted this lifestyle, the single life, the party and everything, and we're not marrying and we're not building families like we used to. That's the problem. Nothing else. You know, and they also have families lead to family-owned businesses. You know, you business. Well, how do you know how much? Well, Phil, you should know this, right? How is most wealth passed down in America? It's inheritance. White people get inheritance, right? I know white friends of mine when, oh yeah, my mother passed away.
Tyler, you're
Got
giving
a
me a
house paid
laundry.
for.
Tyler, you're giving me a
So
laundry
so
list
no so
of
so what I'm
why
saying.
you can't give a quantification of how we're
So
doing.
hold
You're
on.
giving me a
You
whole.
cannot go. You cannot go back in history and be like, okay, my
Uh,
family didn't have this, and my family didn't have that one. So let's go rewrite history. Or not. You got to deal with what you got to deal right now. We're not. Also,
uh,
if you realize that you didn't have it, your
Tyler,
family
you're
didn't
giving
do
me
anything.
everything on the table. Why everything is fine. Everything is fine. If we only had more families.
I
If we
never
only.
said everything is fine. No,
Okay,
I never said everything was fine. I'm saying I'm giving you a
trying
problem
to
like
get
this.
you
You
focused
had no
on.
inheritance.
Oh my God! Look, here is the bottom line, and I started with this with the reparations conversation, but since you won't listen to any of the statistics about how our households are doing, you told
Hey,
me
I don't, you know, all that nonsense statistics and whatnot. Everybody make up statistics to prove what they
everybody is wrong.
try to do.
Everybody,
None of those ever come out true.
it's
You
so.
know, every time you have a statistic, whatnot, it's always for something to prove what they try to argue they're trying to make. So take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, so if we say that the average Japanese American household is it higher or lower than the average Black American household? Higher or
They're
lower?
probably higher because they're married.
Because
They
they're
probably
married.
have two educated income earners and whatnot, or wife that stays home and whatnot.
It's
This, that, and the
also
other thing.
education.
That's what you look at that Japanese. They're married. You know, the Asians are married at a young. They're married by the time they're 30. They're building families.
Okay, so
The black woman out there want to be the single life, be a boss bitch. You know, that's the problem.
That's the problem. Is
Do
that
you understand? You pay attention what's going on in the culture? Yes.
Okay,
Yes. If you spend more time around black people, you don't understand what the problem is, bro.
No,
Honestly,
the problem is
you obviously don't spend a lot of time around black people.
no. Listen, there are plenty of Black people that are doing just fine, but there are also.
But you don't hang around enough black people in your circle to know enough black people to understand these things naturally. You're going by statistics.
No, I just look.
I can tell.
Okay, so Kala, the numbers that they come up for Black Americans, everything is going great.
Right? No, I'm not saying they're going great. They're going bad because our behavior. You know, it just funny. Hold on. Let me tell you something, Philip.
How do you argue anything?
Philip, let me tell you something. Philip, let me tell you something, bro. Let me break something down to you. Let me break it down to you, bro. Let me break it down to you, bro.
Okay,
you know,
sure.
I said I'm gonna get you in touch with your black side.
I'm not in touch, Kala. I just am trying to give you some simple numbers.
No. I'm saying let me say something
about opinion.
Phil, let me say this. No, but I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, but you sound like one of those guys that aren't around black people. You just read about black people.
Oh my God, I'm around black people, Kala. That's such a. I don't make any assumptions about.
Well, you don't sound like it, man. You know.
Wait, Kala. Do you know how much?
Let me say it.
Do you know how much free work I do for black people? Stop it. Just deal with the numbers.
Oh, you're around poor black people.
No.
You're poor black people.
I'm telling you, Kala, it's not about me. It's about us.
Are you around any professional black people?
Dude, I'm not even going to argue.
Do you have any professional black people?
I'm around tons. I'm around tons, and I work with them all the time. That's not the point.
Right, okay.
We were talking about
okay.
what is the best country for Black Americans in the diaspora to settle and do business in Africa. Dude, you turn
right now I would say
this conversation about me.
Most black people should stay their ass and all right in America.
Stuff. And I'm just like, stop it, man. If you want to talk about
all right. I apologize.
Yeah,
I apologize. I apologize. Phil, I apologize. Okay. Well, let me get back to you're good, but you're good, brother Philip. You know, I like breaking people's balls a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're good.
It's all good, man. But
it's all good. It's all good. I know it's all good.
Yeah. So
now my point I'm trying to make it about this whole thing is this, right? Is like when the topic about Black America, those are black people who have the means. Well, as you know, we're building in Africa and whatnot. And the first thing I always say like this is most black people when we talk about Africa, right? I sit back and listen, right? They don't even look at a country's GDP, human index, infrastructure, stuff like this. Where's the opportunity? They just want to go to Africa. They don't. Black people.
I agree with
to my point, right? To my point, right? When you see black people go in Africa, right? We always talk this unity. You said earlier, just 95 minutes ago, where's the community, all stuff like this, right? So if you can't build a community here in America, you don't want to be around black people here, right? And then when you go to Africa, right? Anybody will tell you, right? When you go to a foreign land, you always want to link up with people from your own country as like-minded. Because all our people that's went to Africa right now, they're losing because they get in these countries, not saying bad thing about that, and they're not, and they get taken advantage of, and they're not in the social clubs, they're not in this stuff like this, and they end up coming back to America after they ruin their life. But Monty and I deal with this all the time.
I mean, all of that is true, but we gotta deal with the reality here, man. And
now, let me say this.
I listen to you.
No. Let me finish this point. Let me land this one point, right? Now, my friend Mark Blanton, right, in South Africa, right? He brings a different caliber of black. Have you ever seen the TV the movie Black Without Borders?
I love the work that Mark Blanton.
That's That's my brother, man. Me and him we hang out in Virginia Beach. You know, when he came down here, right?
Great
When
guy.
he used to live
Great
here. You know,
guy. I
that's my
love
brother.
what he and his
You
wife
know,
are doing.
and
Keep going.
you know, him and his lovely wife. Anyway, but bottom line is this. So he's bringing South Africa is an industrialized country, right? You got black people that come in there and they can get tech jobs. I do not believe in a million years every black person going to Africa should have to build a house from scratch or should have to build a business. They should, if a country can't offer you a position or something like that, or a contract to do a long 5 year contract to do some work and everything, and all the contracts go to the Chinese, Lebanese, everything like that, leave that country alone. You know, and that's what the leverage comes in at, right? We don't can't be beholden to any country that don't put anything on the table, right? They say, well, Africa don't have no money, right? Well, do you have money to give those Indians a road contract? You have money to give the Chinese that rail contract. We have black engineers here. Look at that of that 20 top black businesses in America. These are industrial companies that manufacture everything from tires to fiber optic cables and everything like that, making billions of dollars in America. My friend, not friend, I'm going to be introduced to Mr. Hightower of Hightower. Have you ever heard of Hightower Petroleum? Okay, you should
I,
Google him, get to know him.
I want to say
Hightower.
you've mentioned him before, but
Okay, okay. He's
there are wonder.
hold on. He's an industrialist, right? And he's trying to get into the African market, right? He's trying to get into the African market, right? And the
I
bottom
want
line
to
is this.
say he came on Dinus's show or somebody like
No,
that,
he now Mr. Hightower's not been on Dinah's show.
and
No,
somebody
that's never been.
somebody did. But go ahead.
No, he's never been on Dinah's show. Trust me. You know,
Okay,
this
but
guy's a
regardless, go
multi-millionaire.
ahead. Go
You
ahead.
know.
Finish your point.
Okay. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is we do have the industrials and everything, but the thing is though, like I said earlier, right? If you have Africa laid out a 100-year plan, right? This is where we want to do. This is the benchmarks, everything. Korea, all these other people, they have a 100-year plan. You know what the Chinese, everyone from when the Chinese were developing the Great Leap Forward and the blunder of that and to up to the thing, the Chinese around the world were watching the Chinese communists. And then in the 1970s, when the Chinese, the McKinsey group was invited into China to start opening American companies and making China a manufacturing base and everything to compete against Japan and everything like that, the Chinese Americans took notice. And do you know who actually built modern China right there? It was the Chinese Americans who've been here for 5, 6 generations. They couldn't even speak a lick of Chinese, but they said this is our homeland. Because why? Because they saw something going on, and the government of China said you have an obligation to come back and everything. They're still U.S. citizens, but they went to China and helped build the Industrial Revolution in China. No such
I would agree with that
thing has
comment.
been done in Africa.
But the problem that I'm hearing from the Africans, and maybe Kaizo can offer some, is that many of the governments there are not in the frame to set up programs and incentives for people of the diaspora to come. And there are
Well, they
different.
got Europeans coming there.
Well, but the difference again is leverage. That when China or South Korea or Japan or any of these countries, when they come in with, for example, the Chinese Manufacturing Bank behind them to help fund some of the projects. When Black Americans come, at best, they're coming with the XM Bank with them to do the transaction. That's usually the
We
best.
have nothing. We really have
Well,
nothing. No
I'm trying to make
real
this point, and I've been trying to
thing.
say this to you for some time. Look, that
Yeah.
you're correct that programs and greasing the wheels to build business to get a circular economy is absolutely vital. And if South Africa is one of the first countries to do that, that would be great. I hope that happens. But in the meantime, you've got a situation here where Black Americans are struggling to keep up with the costs of the permanent inflation and the imminent retirement crisis
Everybody's
because
struggling.
everybody is. But if America catches a cold, we catch the flu or pneumonia. And the reason why is something that you said. We don't tend to have inheritance. Each Black American tends to start from zero because their family was not able to leave them anything. And there are reasons
Oh,
for that.
we didn't think nobody will. You know, I had my family in North Carolina, right? We are still on land. we still got land, and I'm determined not to lose. We still got land in North Carolina, but one side of my other family, right? My granddad had to go into a nursing home, right? And I don't know what happened. We're all in the U.S. Nothing. Why do we all have to go to New York in the first place and got these good jobs and careers and everything, while our families had all this land in North Carolina and whatnot? I'm looking at that. Then again, racism, you know. So like I
Yeah,
said, we were driven to the north,
I
and
want
but we lost so many acres of land
I
because the
yeah,
nursing home took over
we
the
we
land
we have lost
as
a
payment, you
lot
know.
of land and we've lost a lot of businesses. And what I'm trying to say now is, look, with regards, because we got off on a tangent on the reparations, there is a method to go about trying to get the reparations, but we have to be part of a nation. Now, you say we should start our own nation and start from scratch, etc. I'm saying that there
Oh,
are.
ultimately, right?
I'm
We can
I'm
start with a nation, but it can't be a country like Nigeria. No.
I'm saying that America is a country that is a group economics country. Irish Americans work with Ireland. Italian Americans work with Italy. British Americans work with the UK. Mexican Americans work with Mexico. Black Americans work with the United States, right? And that's the problem.
We need a
And,
country like
that,
Angola.
and that's the problem. The problem
We need a
is
country like
they
Angola.
don't,
The Angola
we
president
don't.
came
Hold
here
on,
last
hold
year.
on,
How many people agreed there?
hold on. This is what I was saying, that Black Americans did not and do not start in slavery. That is not the beginning of our story. Our story starts in some African country. Now, for those of us that feel that they want to start their story in slavery, they can have at that. I'm not here to argue with them. But I am trying to say that there is a method before Ike left where in the buildup to try to do reparations, you can build an economy with the African countries that you actually came from. There's a way to do it, but it starts small. You need, as
Yeah,
you
you join the Black African Infrastructure Organization because we all have that laid out. We have
well, yeah,
chapters in each
I would encourage people to
country.
join your organization. You've been on this for decades. I'm just saying to you that
You know what I'm saying? So,
we have a place right now where we are where we can't even have a conversation about where we are, how we are, what our economics are, and you're seeing it unfortunately in our kids. In this, our kids are not going to school thinking I am going to school to help my parents' business. I got to get my math straight. I got to make sure that I read
I
and
agree.
write because I got to help mom or dad at the shop. We do not have the outlook
We,
of
we, we need our own infrastructure. We need our own infrastructure.
exactly, but
We have
that
the infrastructure that people have 100-year plans.
but
Say
that
this is what
takes
we're going to plan
effort.
to.
That takes effort. And I'm reading this young lady that's in the comments, and I don't know what her issue is with being African or
Oh man,
Africa.
that person like this. These people.
I don't know what that's about. But
These people
I will say
hate being
this
African. That's
is
what I'm talking about. And
this is
that movement right there is growing.
right. Unfortunately, and that this is an African channel talking about African issues. So I don't know if you don't like
But they
Africa.
show up. They're over
I don't
Monty's
know.
channel too.
I don't know what
Saturday night. You know, all these people they follow me around every place. But anywhere I'm
I
going,
don't know
they're
what
there.
that's about. But
You know.
my point is that look, there is a method to build this step by step, and for Black Americans to stabilize the economics in their communities. But it has to be circular. Just that we don't have to recreate the wheel. I think you will agree with that. That we're a group economic country. We have to work with our group. Unfortunately, we can't get
Right.
we can't even get a consensus that we're from Africa or that Africa matters or that there's a country in Africa.
The bottom line, I believe it starts with leadership and education. The
Well,
problem is,
I
like
believe
I
it
said,
starts with parents and
right.
spending the time with your children that they have a strong sense of self and a strong sense
Well,
of
you say you can't keyword, and I got to get off, Philip. You said
oh, yeah,
parents,
yeah.
right?
So,
Have you been seeing the state of Black parenthood right now, where women parents are out there fighting in the street? They're out there clubbing. We have to get the black people like you and I should not be fighting. We should be able to say
we're
we're
not. We had
civilized
a
black men.
heated
So
discussion
we should
about
be
it.
working together.
We're not fighting.
Oh,
We're
look, we're
working together.
civilized black men, right?
Yeah,
Civilized.
well,
No,
yeah,
no, no. I'm saying
and
we're
I
not
appreciate
arguing.
it.
You haven't heard the last of me. And Philip, Let me
I
say
heard,
something.
I
You haven't
appreciate
heard the
it.
last of me. We're gonna argue all the time, but we can have a civil discourse.
Oh,
What I'm
yeah,
talking about is there's black people that don't believe in anything, right? And there's a
yeah,
large number of
yeah,
black
I
people that's
agree.
tainting the whole community that don't believe in nothing but partying, dancing, acting a fool, when not making babies all over the place. You have TikTok. Get on TikTok.
Well,
You'll be
listen. I
suppressing it.
know that that's out there.
And that's what you have
We have
destroying the
to
community.
focus on the positive
And no,
stuff.
it's out there. It's engulfing. That's what. Hold on,
Well,
look. The
it
only
seems
way
like
that's gonna happen, right,
most black people are
is
not
the
on social media, but
no, no. It's a no. Well, even it's even affecting black middle class people. It's
well,
everything.
sure.
It's the white community. It's like
Well,
it's a
but Kyle,
it's a culture
this
of
was a good
me,
conversation,
like this.
right? This was a good
You
conversation,
know,
and we have some differences in terms of what we're trying to do, but ultimately,
right?
we both are trying to move the ball forward, and to
Oh well, exactly,
and
exactly,
to to
exactly.
to give each other the space to say, here, look, this is my idea. And as long as the dialogue is that, then we can always move forward because we agree that we're trying to.
Phil, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something, right? Without Africa, we're done, right? But check this out. Let me say this. This is the last thing I want to say. I promise. Uh, Back in the days, right? Do you know the number one thing black people fought against? It wasn't the Klan. It was our image, right? When the white man created these negative image of black people being buffoons and everything, and then we had to go out there. You know what black people did? How we fought back? We always took nice pictures. Go to on Facebook and go vintage African Americans. That's how people used to so beautiful back then because we did that on purpose. Why? Because our image was tainted. And so therefore, black people were very apprehensive. And when we had control over our communities, we controlled behavior, right?
Yes, and
You
I
better not be
agree with
acting
that.
up,
I agree with that. I've seen
Okay.
that.
And so we don't have that anymore. We don't
Well,
have
yeah.
that culture anymore.
Listen, listen.
Because
We're
because
struggling. We're struggling to maintain our families and our communities because the economics that were up under our families and communities have withered. That's just the
even though we
reality.
didn't have a lot of economics, but the bottom line is this: black people, for the most part, man. When we had the depression, right? Everybody's committing suicide. Black people, we was like my great grandpa told my grandfather, we did good. My father's a baby boomer, but he said my grandfather used to go to New York and work during the depression and whatnot from North Carolina, go up to Long Island, come back there. He was the first person in this county that had a television. He said, I come back
It's a
here.
wonder.
It was like
We
we had
have
a
a
front room.
wonderful story, and there are so many successes that we can talk about that we should be proud of. And
You know,
I'm not trying to poo-poo any of that. I'm just saying, look, there's a process by which we can build with the Africans
we
and
gave
our,
up. We
but
gave
we
up on
can,
ourselves. And the bottom line,
yeah,
I
we
do
did.
believe we connect with Africa, building Africa. So it'll give us a purpose again.
Unfortunately,
But anyway, I gotta go. We don't have
all right, brother. Well, listen,
without Africa, without building Africa, and we stay in America, we're gonna die. Okay, let me. I got to go.
thank
I'll
you,
talk
brother
to you,
Kala.
Kaiser,
It
later. I'll
was
talk
good
to you
to
later. Good
talk to
seeing
you,
you, bro. All
brother. I
right.
appreciate you.
All right. You too, brother. Peace.
Okay, peace. Kaizo, I think this is the end of the show, brother. So I'm going to drop off. I don't know if we got to a point on which country, but maybe that was too far. I think we got to start with baby steps. So we had a decent starting discussion, and maybe you can do another show on this where we can take it a little further and a little bit more in depth. Okay, thank you for your time, Kaizo.
Hey guys, ending the stream now. Just sorting something out in the back. Click on Ike's stream. Continue the party over there. Shout out